Yeah.
Legitness.
Okay, I have the mic very close to my face, so I hope I don't yell too hard into people's ears.
We should be fine. We are live, by the way. Hello! Welcome to Beast Fables, a wonderful show about a bat and a toad exploring the bristly woods. We follow these lovely beasts in their adventures in a world that is a lot smaller or a lot bigger than our own. I am Brian Tyrrell. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the narrator of this story. We are using the system Adventures on a Dime to play this game. I'm just scrolling down so that everyone at home can see our lovely little beastie friends. I'm going to shift them. I can't shift them. I was going to shift them into frame, but you can't see them. You can see a pipistrelle bouncing up and down.
Hello.
Just gonna travel all the way up to the map.
There we go. To jump onto the map. So, we're using the system Adventures on a Dime, which is a super simple role-playing game, really. It uses simple stats, it just uses very, very basic jobs, and it allows us to explore this world of animals and mystery really easily. I wrote it, and I published it under my imprint Dungeons on a Dime, so you can check it out. All the rules are free to download with a free character sheet, as well as character sheets on Roll20. If you just go to Dungeons on a Dime or doad.co.uk. And I just had to flick a shield bug off of my leg. I don't know how it got there, but it was on my leg, and it was just saying hello. And
It was a spy from the bristly woods.
Probs. I'm going to put that in the world building document. Anyway,
Yes.
I am joined by two fantastic players today, Ver and Atlanta. First, we're going to introduce ourselves with Ver. I've heard that you've got some really cool news to tell us. Could you tell us who you are, how you are, and what you are?
I can certainly do those things, Brian. My name is Ver. I use they, them pronouns. I am a, let's see, how I am. I am good, pretty chill, feeling nice. What I am is quite excited to play as Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, a courageous toad knight. I am also excited, slightly belatedly, with an announcement that I have. Unfortunately, because we missed last week's game, it's a little belated, but last Wednesday, my issue of Jim Henson's The Storyteller hit comic shops in the US, UK, and other places that distribute via Diamond, mostly. And what with Diamond being the distributor, I don't know what the availability still might be. However, if you have a chance to support your local comic store and would like to pick up a story pertaining to Slavic mythology and the mythos of a little bit about death and a little bit about life, I would perhaps recommend my own story. Jim Henson's The Storyteller, Ghosts Issue 4, The Promise, available, if not in your comic store, presumably still available online to order. And if you have a chance, you can check it out. I would be happy if you did.
That is so cool!
It's the most
pretty
cool.
neat. It's been in the works since literally last year when they contacted me about it. So I'm just like, well, yeah, it's finally out. Woof. Because we practically wrapped up work on it in April, but then there was lettering and printing and stuff. So it's just kind of cool that it's out.
April to printed, that's not a long turnaround.
Well, it's a floppy, so plus it's.
I thought of a floppy disk. I was like, that is an interesting format for comics.
Very retro. No, it's a floppy comic, so they're
plus
it is it is a publishing house, so they can expedite the process pretty well. Nonetheless, I will say that if you don't have a chance to pick up this particular issue, there will be a because there's 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 issues total that came out during this year. There is a collected edition that will be coming out, I think, at the end of the year, that will feature all of the stories that were published, including some little extra information from us, the creators. I don't think I mentioned that I wrote and illustrated that comic. So there is a little extra, like, process pictures, like you can see what my pencils look like. I get to comment a little bit about the story, like why I chose it, and who, what, and how I am also in that little collection at a little bit more length than I did earlier today. Earlier here, rather.
This is so cool. Also, we love a trade. I love trade.
Oh,
yes. Just so
I
much
usually
stuff.
like I'll see a cool. There's a few really cool series that are coming out right now, and I'm just like waiting for the big trade. A collection of it, because I just like having like a big old book rather than just a little like magazine-esque floppy comic.
I mean, like everyone. I think at this point everyone has heard of Saga. In terms of comics, and I know that they do floppies, like soft issues, but I don't know why you would get them, because there's just so much art. It's like you want to keep it perfect to preserve, but also be able to read it as well. I love trades. Trades are my stand.
Yeah, I'm definitely there for it as well. In any case, I have taken already. I've taken up quite a bit of time already with my intro and news. So thank you for letting me talk about it at length. However, I will wrap up there.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. Also, that's really cool. Love me some Slavic mythology. Love me some beautiful art. But we also have a second amazing guest with us today. Hello to Atlanta. Could you please say hello and introduce yourself?
Hello, it's me, Atlanta, again. Still here, still human.
Back at you with the pipistrelle.
Back at me with sort of a bat, sort of a human. I'm kind of somewhere in between these days.
We love a metamorphosis.
I am, in fact, becoming Batman. You should all be worried. But
I think you'd make a good Batman.
I think I would make up a good Batman too. But we're getting off topic. I have nothing to plug, sadly, because yay, things happened and I lost all my work this year. But I'm doing the summary for the game that we played not last week, but the week prior to that, because we missed last week because of mental health reasons.
Yes. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. And we started Chapter 5 having escaped the owl in the terrifying village and having a little moment to rest, recuperate, and generally spruce ourselves up a little bit before deciding to head across the meadow to get to Willowmoot. We set out from the woods and started walking through a lot of very tall grass, following some paths, and there was many a distraction that we could have followed, including coming across a camp that looked like it had been abandoned, possibly, at least Pip thought possibly inhabited by badgers at one point, because the tents were quite big, or at least a little bit bigger than your average toad and or bat. There was a very interesting looking backpack, which I really resisted picking up and taking, because I really wanted to take that backpack. But as we were leaving the camp, we also heard a strange noise coming from over yonder, which we didn't understand. It didn't sound like anyone in distress, but was nonetheless intriguing. But again, we decided not to investigate and carry it on towards Willowmoot. And as we were walking up the path, we met an otter, kind of. I say met an otter. There was an otter who was walking past us who gave Balthazar a funny look, as though they may have recognized Balthazar. And Pip, being the precocious and incredibly nosy little thing that she was, decided to go and bother the otter.
I want animatics of our entire show that's just little yeah.
Yeah, and so we had Pip getting incredibly embarrassed by going and talking to this otter who really didn't know anything and maybe was just passing, but she is just there. He is, but just being generally herself. But we carried on anyway after the embarrassing interlude. Oh, Pip also made Balthazar a hat. That was a very important detail that cannot be overlooked.
Yes, he currently has a very handsome straw boater hat, doesn't he?
And he looks very good in it, and it's
very handsome.
Very handsome, and keeping the.
Well, I will say that Balthy made a very interestingly shaped hat, and Pip helped reconstruct it into a usable format.
Balthazar made art.
He did make art.
Pip made it into a functional item.
Yeah.
Balthazar made the impression of a hat.
He looked inwards and with his third eye saw the boater hat, and in its image he crafted his own interpretation. He's not very good at it, but by God he tried.
Exactly.
I mean, is anyone ever really good at art?
Oh, I think we all know the answer to that, and the answer to that is no.
The answer is yes.
So the answer is both yes and no. But we had a fun little interlude with Pip making Balthazar a hat, and then we carried on to Willowmoot. And upon arriving at Willowmoot, we find the it is a willow tree, isn't it? It's like, yeah, of course it is. We find the main structure of Willowmoot, the willow tree, being half burnt down. Half of the houses have been destroyed. On one side, the other half is still there. So we have a little look around. We find an inn. We go inside. We talk to a quite friendly hedgehog innkeeper. Who
I will retroactively clarify. I feel like neither of you have been to an inn before, because Pipistrel lived at home, and so might have been to places to eat, but not necessarily to an inn to stay at. And Balthazar has only ever lived at the Toad Log of Blueberry Pond. So I wouldn't say it's an inn. It's much more like a bunkhouse with a meeting room, like a hostel.
Sorry,
that's the vibe that I was
like
not giving but tried to give.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, we arrive at this sort of general sort of meeting lodge house place in Willowmoot. We speak to the hedgehog inside. She very kindly gives us sort of bed and board for the night, but we are also offered what can only really be described as side quests, one of which is to take the belongings of a badger back to Odoak, a badger who unfortunately was, I don't know if they I think
they perished in
they died
the
in the fire. Yeah. So they died, a badger who died in the fire, who is the child of one of the badgers of Odoak. And the other was to investigate the strange machine that the rats have been making, which was the sound that we heard while we were in the meadow. The strange sort of mechanical whirring that we didn't understand. And the hedgehog seems none too keen to have that machine back near Willowmoot. But could be an intriguing thing to explore. And I believe we left off last week having had a little chat between Pip and Balthazar about things that they liked and how much they both like dancing. And I think that's and then a nice little sleep before we decide what we do today, I guess.
We also had a tiny Odoak fact, which I feel like is a theme I want to do every week. But we had an Odoak fact from Pipistrel that frogs like to catch small fish to sell to bigger animals, and they're jovial, laughy, and enjoy parties, which is how you got onto the conversation of the dancing.
Indeed, we did.
Yes.
Okay. So, if I can control the general vibe of the place, you awaken, both of you, to a warm yellow light creaking in underneath and above and to the sides of the wooden door that shelters you inside of your little bunk bed nook. The room is very thin, not dusty, but also very bare. The bunk beds themselves have no straw on them, they're simply slats of wood. And sleeping in your travel clothes, with your bags for backpacks, you were tired when you went to bed, having not slept for an entire day, having run from the owls, or the owl, in Mushroot, and then walked all day to Willowmoot. You fell asleep very soundly, but now awake, stiff and sore, and having to move yourself creakily. But you are awake, and you have gained the benefits of a full rest, of a whole rest. You have slept, you've eaten, you've had water, and so all of your dice are reset back to their bases.
Hooray!
We were pretty damn knackered. Like, my vigor. I'm a, Balthazar's vigorous boy, but his dice was down to a 1d4, which is as good as his intellect or his cunning, which is not very good.
1d4 is also the lowest that a stat can go, so it's a pretty dire scenario.
For a robust boy who's supposed to be decent at being energetic and strong.
Yeah.
Well, he did the majority of the fighting with the owl, to be honest. And he did very well.
And as a reminder, we had a little review of the last scene that we played through, and we established that, Balthazar, your disposition is virtuous. You like to take a step back, think about a scenario, and because of that, you have reinforced that disposition, that bearing, and you've gained the benefit that this game, for the next scene, you have a point. You can strike that out, and you can make sure that someone else, probably Pipistrel, automatically succeeds at an action they're doing, no matter what they roll.
Yes, or an adversary, quote unquote, I can choose that they fail. So if someone does something, maybe I can guarantee that they don't get away with it.
Yes, and that will represent a sort of we'll have you give a little sentence of description as to how you might have prepared, say, Pipistrel to leap out of harm's way, or taught her a trick on the road while you were walking. We'll build that in. But it's sort of like your helpful presence has reinforced your friends. And Pipistrel, you moved from Vice, this idea of instantaneous action, gratuitous reward, delving into the mysteries of the world, to neutral, realizing that maybe it's good to take a step back every now and then and weigh your options. You don't have a benefit, but your disposition has changed.
It has indeed.
So, you awake to the kind of it's cool air, but it's that kind of day where you can tell it's already blue skies. You don't even have to look out of the window that you don't have. You just know inherently it's blue skies, and it's going to be a scorcher today.
Oh gosh.
Well, Balthazar will pat around on the ground to already put his boater hat on. As early as soon as his eyes are open. Gotta protect that sensitive toad skin.
I feel like maybe you had the boater hat on your face while you slept.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, yeah, because his face, his head and face are so round. I think he had like a little kind of string going underneath his chin to keep it strapped, so maybe he just even slept in the hat.
It's very possible.
He would.
He would have been very comfortable.
He really likes it.
Oh, bless him. Such a sweet boy.
Balthazar will wake up, make sure that his wonderful hat is intact, and he's going to, because he's on the lower bunk if I'm not mistaken, so he's just kind of gonna roll off the side.
Yeah, I feel it's because he couldn't make it to the top bunk. Like, if he
I'm
wanted
pretty
to
sure
try,
that,
it would have been very difficult.
That vigor, that hijinks on the vigor was for him trying to get to the top bunk if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh, he couldn't reach it because of his little legs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rolled for it, just like for for a laugh, and just really beefed it. So he kind of just rolls off of the side and hop on his feet, and he's gonna, because he's a little stiff and sore from the ongoings of the last very, very long day that we had. He's just kind of gonna start stretching and doing like squats and making sure that he can get some of that soreness out of his muscles and be good to go.
Okay, I'd like you to make
ASAP.
a vigor roll for me.
All right.
For your.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's interesting. So I was asking you to roll vigor because I I wanted to see if your diligence won through and if you were able to loosen up your muscles and just generally get an advantage on the day. I'm gonna say with a hijinks, I think you've pulled something.
Oh no!
Like, not today, but yesterday, you taxed yourself carrying Pipistrel through the forest away from the owl. You pushed yourself too hard.
He does have really massive bruising from
so
when
I feel
the
like
owl
maybe
struck and destroyed his armor a little bit.
I think
maybe
maybe
it's
you
just...
can't wear your armor today. Like, you try to put the breastplate on, and it's actually just chafing and pushing at the bruising too much that it's really painful.
Yeah. Okay, he's gonna be really sad. More so than like, oh, I don't have the protection. He's just sad because the armor is quite important to him. So he frowns and is gonna like bundle it up in the like hammock that he uses as a knapsack. And he's just gonna be carrying it around with him. He doesn't want to leave it here because the hedgehog innkeeper had mentioned that they're not responsible if anyone like steals her stuff. So he's a little wary. You know, he heard it. He may have a 1d4 in cunning, but he understands when she says that it's a little shady here maybe sometime.
Yeah. I feel like he'd be the kind of person who would look at someone and go, "Hello, my name is Balthazar. Please don't steal my stuff."
So he's gonna like realizing that he can't wear his armor, he's going to start trying as quietly as he can put it kind of bundle it up into the knapsack. Like he's probably going the stuff that he had in his knapsack he's gonna like put on the interior of the armor, so to say, like the armor's gonna be like a protective shell around.
Yeah, like it's gonna be a protective shell, and it's also forming like a good base of like, say, like the air quotes pack, so it's got like the rounded base, so you can organize things.
Yeah, so he's gonna organize stuff, and he's just gonna be in his lovely padding, which, if I'm not wait, I can't remember. Oh no, in this week's picture, he has
He's wearing his padded doublet.
In this one? No. So in this one, sorry, I'm thinking last time I had my picture as a preview, he was wearing that little padded doublet. So he basically has that underneath.
No, but he's also wearing it in this week's as well.
No, he's wearing his full armor.
He is wearing his armor in this one.
In the snacks one with berries. Yeah, he has his full armor on. So. Because I had two pictures of them cooking and eating, and one of them he's in his padding, the other one he's in armor. But in any case, he's in the padding and packing up, and that's Balthazar for the morning because I've been at it for a while with Balthi here doing pretty much nothing.
Yeah,
having a stretch, poor thing.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at the camp one, which I put up on Twitter. Anyhow. Padding. And Pipistrel, what are you up to?
I think probably hearing, because how could she not, hearing Balthi like getting up and stretching and then going like oof as he pulls something. Poor thing. I think Pip is like lying in the bunk, kind of using her messenger bag as a pillow, but is like kind of sleepy still. Like she's not a particularly good riser.
You're getting slowly used to the mornings as well. Your sleep cycle is very much swapping
a little bit. So she's
like it's jet lag. You're now like you're at day 3 of jet lag. You've done the all-nighter. You've slept through, and now you're actually starting to be accustomed to like the morning and evening. Though it still feels really weird to be getting up.
Walker.
Exactly. So Pip is still obviously learning how to be a I forgot what the word for the
diurnal.
Is it diurnal?
Diurnal
creature. So
nocturnal and diurnal.
Yeah, so a creature who is awake during the day, but she will sort of roll over and sort of grunt a little bit as she's lying, stretch, and reach out to put her flight suit back on. But also, actually, no, before she does that, I think what she'll do is she'll check her wing and see if it needs more poulticing and or bandaging before she puts her flight suit back on.
Okay. You're being diligent. You're checking your wounds. I'd like you to make a vigor check for me.
Yes. Haha!
Ooh, a critical success. You're getting a real scale of things here. So, critical success. You do better than expected. The narrative describes how things go in your favor. So, I'm going to say that giving it a day of rest, applying the poultice last night, you take it off, you are noticing that the wound is now scabbed over again from where it opened up before. And you very carefully wash it with a little bit of water that you've got in your pack, and then reapply some new fresh poultice from the pot that was given to you by the badger nurse in Bramble Dam, and rebandage it, and you feel very confident with the wound. You also stretch your wing a little bit. It doesn't feel as taut as it did before, where like if you stretched it, it got to a point where you're like, oh, I don't want to go any further. It feels like it's going to rip. Instead, you're able to fully extend it, and it doesn't feel so gummy.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that is an encouraging development.
It's a good feeling.
Okay.
You still aren't sure if you want to fly on it, but it's a good feeling.
No. Okay. Well, that is encouraging. I'm happy to hear that.
So, what do you guys do?
Oh, I think the first thing that Pip would do would be to kind of lead out from the bunk, having sort of checked her wing and sort of grabbing her flight suit, and say, "Good morning, Balthazar."
Good morning. You look very well rested, and were you just stretching your wing? Is it feeling better now?
She looks down at her wing again and sort of shifts it a little bit and says, we're getting there. It doesn't feel like it's going to rip anymore, and it doesn't hurt as much now when I move it. So I assume that is a good sign. I'm not ready to fly on it yet. I think it needs more time to strengthen and heal, but nearly.
Oh, and Balthazar looks just a little like, not like sad or crestfallen necessarily, but just like, maybe just a tiny bit disappointed, because he says, "Oh, well, I'm very excited for when you'll be ready to fly again. I would quite like to see that."
Oh, she smiles and she's like, it'll be. I'm sure it will be soon enough, but best not to push it too early, I suppose, because I don't want to do any more damage. And she sort of doesn't grimace a little bit, but she's sort of like, because she thinks about Iona and how angry Iona would be if if Pip damaged her wing again.
She just astral project into this inn and
you have a vision
suplex
quest.
you into the corner of the earth. Yeah,
Exactly. But yeah,
I love it.
Well, Pip, like, you would notice that Balthazar has been, or you've been hearing him kind of rummaging about, and he's not wearing his armor. He's in his padding, but he seems kind of ready to go.
I feel like Balthazar, like, because you guys, it's a very small, cramped space. It's not a luxurious room, even by standards. And so, like, you've been doing some squats, and Pippa, so you kind of glanced over and noticed that, like, Balthazar gets so far down and goes, and it's not a croak that a toad normally makes.
Actually, I imagine, because toads, when they croak, they actually make this really, really cute squeaking noise. So he squatted and just made like a squeaky toy noise.
God!
Like,
it sounds like you're a rusty hinge.
Yeah. But
like you catch and you're like.
Yeah. Despite himself, he's just making the.
Yeah, but he's not acknowledging it at all.
No. Because it's just like it's
general tone.
I am a knight.
Yeah.
I think Pip would notice, like,
I wrote a list today, but I didn't do it.
Oh.
Thanks to Roll20 for sponsoring the show. We talked about how I always do this. You mentioned them before, but they've got fantastic character sheets. We've got a character sheet that I had commissioned for the Adventures on a Dime system, now showing on the screen, where people are rolling the dice. You've seen it in action. You've seen people get critical successes, critical failures. We've got a whole range of stuff going on. You can write jobs and stuff. Yeah, Roll20. They're great.
It's great.
Love them. Thanks. Back to the show.
Our merciful Roll20 overlords.
One day we will actually do all this properly. We promise.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a list. I wrote a list of stuff I wanted to go through. I'll make sure that I start by shouting, "Hello, welcome to Roll20." Also Beast Fables. Love it.
Also Beast Fables. Yay.
Yeah.
But then things changed.
Yeah. Things changed when no, I'm not going to say when the Roll20 Nation attacked. Anyway, on to track. What are your plans for the day? You squeak, you ache, you feel sad, you feel happy.
Well, Well, Balthazar. Well, I think Balthazar would propose that for us to go get a nice meal, if that's actually possible. Because we don't have money, but maybe we can.
I feel like
Oh, they
it would
don't
be
have meals here. She told us.
Oh yeah, there's no food.
like that
We
might be
go-
the thing that Balthazar. Oh, we should get some food, and then you realize, oh, they don't do food here, because your first instinct, living at say the Toad Log or at Bramble Dam, would be, oh, let's go to the mess hall where food is provided for us. It's always a collaborative effort.
Yeah, he doesn't know where to get food from if someone doesn't give it to him. He's like a dog.
I guess. I think Pip would probably sort of say like, I suppose what we're gonna have to do is, Balthazar, I think we're gonna have to go and find some breakfast somewhere. Like go hunting or fishing or something.
Balthazar considers this extremely new course of food acquiring action and nods vigorously and says, yes, I'm sure if we put our minds to it, we will manage to find a most wonderful breakfast for ourselves. Let's see what Willowmoot has to offer.
Your mind does drift to the candied aphids and slug jam that are in your respective packs, Pipistrel and Balthazar. And like any kid, it's lovely to eat sweets for breakfast, but you know that like later in the day you'll crash, and also they're never quite filling. So finding food is a good idea.
I reckon if there are sort of long grasses nearby, we could go and try and find some little bugs and aphids and things to snack on. Good source of protein.
What if actually this is like slightly meta talk right now before our characters maybe will consider it, but so Balthazar is quite interested in the rat engineers that we saw staying here. The hedgehog even gave us a room, I think like 40 something.
Yeah.
That they're in.
You remember the room number? I don't.
Yeah, it's room 43. So, because we found out that presumably, I think Chief Engineer Grumble is grumbly or sad because they seem to have had lost this contraption that they created, and we heard it the previous day. So maybe we can help them find it, but because we'd have to venture out into the meadows beyond Willowmoot, we could maybe two birds, one stone, which was just like two birds, one murder in this world. Maybe we can go get breakfast, but also look for this contraption.
I feel like toads would have like two bugs, one tongue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, one slurp.
One slurp.
Ooh, love it.
Well, two bugs, one slurp, as they say.
Who says that?
Toads! Everybody! Toads!
I think Pip would just be like, sure. I've never. You know what? That's it. That's a good idea, Balthazar. Two bugs, one slurp.
Slurp!
She nods, looks confused, and then says, well, let's go and find these rats then, and maybe we'll find some breakfast on the way. Maybe there is somewhere where we can find some aphids, and make a nice hearty breakfast.
Indeed. So Balthazar's gonna walk out and just walk in because I imagine there's a hallway. He's just gonna choose a direction, not knowing if it's the right one. So whether he stumbles on a staircase to go to the presumably 4th level, I just kind of assume that a room 40 something is 4th level, room 3.
Well, it was room. I think it was. We'll say room 7 on the 4th floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so you can tell because you can look at the format of the door plates, and there are small, thin wooden plates on each door that are stained a dark red, and then painted with all chalked. The numbers are kind of the numbers are carved, and then it's been highlighted with chalk, which then have like the formats. So you're on like 1-6, and then you can look over and there's 1-7 on the other side and 1-5. And you're like, and there must be floors, and so you're able to easily find the room if you'd like.
Yes, I would like to. Of course, like making sure that Pip's with me because I don't want to leave her in her room. In our room, I would like to go to where the rat engineers are staying.
Yes.
Okay. So you up the creaky stairs, 3 floors, which after like knowing that you're a little bit creaky, you get to the top and you're like, stairs, wonderful inventions.
Yeah. He's like, I know, because the toadstooms would have stairs, so he's just like, these stairs are much bigger strides than what I'm used to, but it's a good way to wake up.
That's something else. It's like a toddler going upstairs. Like each one is like a squat. You have to be like, because they're built for creatures that are a bit bigger than you.
Yeah. He's quite happy he's not wearing his armor after all.
Yeah.
In the state that he's in.
A blessing in disguise.
Indeed. So yeah, he gets his leg day on early in the morning, and hopefully makes it to floor 4 to the rats.
So you do. You go to the door that is marked 4-7, and you are outside of it. You don't hear anything on the other side of the door.
I knock. It's like a doo-doo-doo, like with his powerful little fist.
Ooh, it's very authoritative.
Yeah, because he's a knight.
Yeah.
He's here to the quest.
I say he. So you knock, and you hear on the other side of the door, muffled, hello, what is it?
Hello. Would this perhaps be the room?
And then as you're saying, the door opens and goes this tall, thin rat with a tail curling round, and then kind of shy between one leg, looks down and goes, yes, hello, what? Who are you?
Hi, ready for Ratatouille, I guess. French rat. Balthazar says, I am Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, and this is Pipistrel, messenger of Odok. Would you perhaps be Grumble, one of the rat engineers that we hear are staying in this area?
First of all, I'm not trying a French accent. I'm trying a very but okay. I'm not offending anybody apart from myself.
I love him.
So the rat looks down, and they look at you and says, it's pronounced Grimble. But yes, please, do come in. It's a little messy in here. And Grimble directs you into the room, which is much larger than any of yours. It is maybe 10 paces wide,
very
10 long, square room. There are a few beds here, which are much nicer than yours. They have mattresses as well. And there are desks here. In fact, there's also a window letting in some of the morning light. The corridor that you walked down also had windows as well. But here, the room has its own window with shutters that open, letting in a lovely beam of golden light. It's maybe 7 in the morning right now. There are no other creatures, beasts in the room. And there is a distinct smell of that we would know as oil, but you guys haven't smelt something like this before. It's tangy and metallic, but not like blood. It's got that sort of pungent, slick smell that oil and petrol does. There's also the distinct smell of coal, and you see in a corner of the room there are sacks of coal spilling out over onto the ground. And you notice that as you step round, there is like a very thin layer of coal dust on everything you look at.
Okay.
Balthazar is...
Yes, please. do sit down wherever you would like. There is a chair, yes, and Grimble pulls out one chair that is sized probably maybe for hedgehogs and rats and much larger creatures, and goes, oh, that won't do, and shoves it back under a desk, and instead pulls out two footstools and puts them down. He goes, yes, please sit. How may the Guild of Craft Paws help you? Are you from the Legion? I've not recognized a crest of that before. Looking down at the... I'm going to presume you've got, like, blueberries stitched into your tabard.
Yeah,
well.
it's, like, super cute.
Yeah.
Balthazar kind of inclines his head and then sees that they are looking down at this, at the blueberry crest, and he says, I understand that some toads are indeed serving the Legion. I myself have travelled all the way from Blueberry Pond over Loch Katrine. I am escorting the fine Pipistrel back to her home in Odok. We do not come on any official business, other than we hear that you perhaps were in possession of some contraption that had been lost or taken. And on our way here, in fact, we had very likely seen signs of and heard this odd contraption. We wanted to volunteer our help in perhaps locating it. We will be setting out around Willowmoot to acquire some provisions. So we would be happy to keep an eye out if you could tell us a little more about this strange gadget that perhaps you're seeking.
Grimble blinks a little at this assault of information, this wave after wave of, and he goes, please, well, if I have to be stuck here, you might as well sit down as well. Please take a seat. Blueberry Ponds, you say? And the rat goes over to a chart on the wall, which you see is several large pieces of bark parchment with maps on, and there are many small symbols marked and all sorts of information. And you notice that one long foreclaw goes to Loch Katrine and scans around and says, I do not know where this Blueberry Pond is, not on the my map or the maps. Could you point it out for me?
Can he?
Well, you can, because you have a map and you have marked Blueberry Pond on it. You know where you've come from and you know what the general area looks like.
Okay, yeah, he's going to he's gonna, if there do they have Lala's Dock on the map?
Lala's Dock is on the map. They have Bullock Bay. They have Bramble Dam. But interestingly, they do not have Blueberry Pond.
Well, that's very odd. I suppose the cartographers must have made some mistake. Balthazar will kind of put like his pointer finger and his pinky between like Lala's Dock and Bullock Bay, and then kind of like move, like a what do you call it?
Compass.
No, not a compass. I forget the name. It's like a thing to measure maps. In any case, he's going to draw an arc, anchoring his hand on his pinky, to be able to more or less.
I think that is a compass. Like it's two sticks and one of them's pointed.
No, a compass is like what you use to point north, right?
Oh no, they're both. They're both words like that. So a compass is the circular thing
I'm not familiar with the
that
other
does
one.
this. But then a compass is also this thing that has two sticks, and one of them is pointed.
Yeah. So you can. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
English language. What the hell?
Yeah. It's incredibly unhelpful.
Yes, I know a little bit of it, and I learn more every day. So he kind of does that, and then just juts his finger, just his pointer finger, right there, Blueberry Pond. It is a most impressive toad log that we all come from, and we have a wonderful. Well, it's simply wonderful, is what I would say. Yes.
And so Grimble marks a little square, and then Blueberry Pond, Toad Log, in very scratchy handwriting. Actually, by dipping the foreclaw into a little pot of ink, scribbling it, and then going to like a very stained rag, and then just wiping the claw off. And says, "Yes, a Toad Log, you say? I had thought that all of the Toad Logs have been marked and contacted. We've had several of your friends from Blackberry Log through here, and several other logs as well on deployment. But they've moved on now that things are over. But Blueberry Pond, well, it would have been good to have extra. Anyway, I'm getting beside myself. Good information, thank you. I shall pass that on to the mappers. And you say that you're here to help me? Who might have sent you?
He kind of like looks at Pipistrel, and he says, "I suppose we sent ourselves. We learned a little bit of this from the hedgehog innkeeper downstairs. But really, we'll likely be taking a little respite in Willowmoot, and might as well help folk out while we're here, if we can. As I said, I think we heard this contraption before, and if indeed someone has taken it, well, I myself, as a knight of Blueberry Pond, would be most intent on righting such a wrong."
Well, that is very, very good of you. Please describe the noise, and I'll compare it to my logs. You are right, we have had a contraption taken from us. We've spent all of the last week repairing it since the fire, and, well, the minute it's fixed, it just up and vanishes. No, but please describe the noise. And she goes over to one of the tables and starts to kind of flick through one of many journals bound with thick bark, flipping through pages to find a chart. And he goes, "Yes, please say."
Balthazar expectantly looks at Pipistrel.
Yeah, I think Pip has been kind of like letting Balthazar like talk this time. She's kind of been taking a little surreptitious look around the room, not picking anything up, but like, just having a look. But I think she would go on to she would go over to the rat in the book, and she would describe the kind of like sort of like the, was it like a kind of not a metallic, that's not the right word, like a sort of loud sort of banging and crashing kind of noise. I can't.
It was like whirring, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a whirring
At first
noise.
we were like, "Oh, is it someone yelling?" And then it's like obviously not a creature, but it kind of sounded like screaming.
Yeah, so like a sort of a whirring, kind of screeching noise, but not like.
I'm not going to remind you. I'm going to say this is what you remember, because in theory
Okay,
it was
so-
like a whole day of walking.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah,
whirring, screeching sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
well, because Balthazar would kind of say, when you heard, because we discovered that camp and the grooves in the ground that looked like a very heavy cart. And we thought maybe someone was hurt, and then Pipistrel, with her very keen bat ears, heard a sound that
Yes.
I believe was a little bit like a scream, and we thought maybe somebody's hurt. But
Scream.
in Bramble Dam, we have Bramble Dam was outfitted with some wondrous
You've come from Bramble
contraptions.
Dam. She seems very distracted.
Yeah.
And goes, yes, scream, and then kind of like dog ears the page of the book, and then just sort of closes it shut, and then says, "You're from Bramble Dam. That is very good information. That's where the other part of our team are."
Oh yeah, because I remember before we left when Pip was having a look around.
Yeah, they
Bramble
were
Dam,
building stuff.
Yeah, she saw a team of rat engineers building
Yeah.
something.
Do you know
and-
anyone from the Hop Initiative? From
Pip
the
would
look
shake
on
her
your
head.
faces, I'm going to guess no. Well.
People say that to me very often. That's very strange.
She kind of. Well, no, I don't think she'd be one to laugh. Brian is like, "Oh, sweet summer child." She sort of kind of blinks at you, not knowing what to say, and says, "Well, anyway, yes. Well, yes. If we're from Bramble Dam, then you hopefully must have at least seen some of the engineers. Anyway, a screaming sound means that the wheels aren't greased and the axles aren't greased either. We have created some kind of how to describe it? Some kind of coal-fueled beetle. It is able to move very quickly, and we feed it with coal, and it uses steam and kettles to whistle away and skitter across the land. We had to use it the last few days to pull wreckage aside during the fire. It was initially meant to be sent to to Bramble Dam for the development of the hop project over there, but unfortunately it was damaged, and then when we were fixing it, the night we managed to get it going again, it was, well, I think stolen, because honestly, why else would it go wandering? But Lutzen, he thinks that it's got a mind of its own, speaks of it like it's an actual beetle, and well, he made it, and I think he's crazy. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on.
Can Pip ask a question?
Yes.
Of this rat? I think
Grimble seems very prone to getting sidetracked.
I think sort of. I think Pip would sort of, like, not shiftily, but would kind of narrow her eyes a little bit. It's like, did you see anyone who you didn't recognize having a look at this beetle contraption?
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of people passing through right now. You've got people returning home from different frontiers and from the Legion camps to the north and to the east. You have travellers in trade trying to scavenge whatever crops they can, and then you've got refugees as well from ruined villages. So, of course, I've seen a number of people coming through here. Looking at the beetle, where we kept it by this establishment, but no one knows how to operate it, so we didn't figure it'd be ever a problem.
Well, do you remember, Pipistrel? We did see those grooves in the ground, like something was pushed. It seems that while somebody was unable to maybe operate it, they were still strong enough to take it somewhere.
And we did
Grooves,
see...
yes, it leaves grooves. It's a very heavy thing. As I say, like a beetle, but not at all light. It's very, very heavy. Oh, believe me, it's heavy.
We did see, we saw those grooves as we were leaving that camp, and that was definitely a camp of larger beasts. Certainly bigger than us.
A camp, you say? Of you say that camp tents? Were there tents there?
Yeah, there were tents. There were, I can't remember exactly how many, but they were, by the time that we reached it, they were abandoned.
Abandoned. Well, Lutzen and the other rats that I work with, Lutzen and Bisnout and Abskenta, they went off to go find where it was going, or where it had gone. They tried to follow the tracks that it left from Willowmoot, and I stayed behind for administrative purposes. And because honestly, I feel that 3 rats are not going to take it back from whoever stole it. But they haven't returned, and it's been 2 nights now, and I'm a little worried.
Out of character, Brian.
Yes.
The camp that we happened upon, did we ever establish how big the tents were? Did we say that they were like? Did we ever give them kind of a general? Beast
I would say,
size?
with the scale of like a rat in front of you as well, you'd know that was a tent that slept rats.
Oh, okay, right. That's good to know.
Or like a rat level of creature.
Okay, so something of a rat size. Okay, good to know. I think sort of Pip thinking about the camp then and thinking about what Grimble is saying, I think she would mention is like, well, we definitely found a camp, and it could have been a camp of your friends. The tents, and she looks to Balthazar, were sort of rat sized, weren't they, Balthy?
It certainly seemed so.
And we definitely heard something nearby that was not of beast made. So maybe your friends did find it, but if they found it, why would they not bring it back here to you? suspicious.
Well, I would not know. But it is not good news if they have not returned. I would say it's more important that Lutzen returns. Lutzen's the one who made the machine, but he's so disorganized. He's lost all of his notes, and he's the only one who can really fix it. We will just help him. If you're out and about in the area, could you see if you could find this idiot and then bring him back? I say idiot respectfully. He's chief engineer. It's more senior to me than anyone else in this area, but he's a rather
Chief idiot.
chief idiot. Yes.
Oh my God.
And I would prefer if, well, he returned. Then at least we could go on to Bramble Dam and stay out of this backwater.
Well, I think we could certainly go and look for him if you need.
Does his voice sound similar to yours? Because Pipistrel has very keen hearing, and if we're out and about and she hears a distinct voice, we would be able to follow it very likely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all have different voices, but he sounds moderately, I would say mid-tones, a little lower than mine. And he does like to yell.
Well, that
Yes.
will be very helpful.
I will definitely be able to hear a rat yelling.
Well, if that's that would be very useful. If I might inquire, who represents you,
Who
or
represents
which
us?
guilds? I probably presume you are of Blueberry Log, Balthazar, or Sir
am!
Balthazar.
Yes.
So I would write this down in my logs as a guild of sorts. Pipistrel, are you of an association or a guild?
I'm part of the Messengers Guild, and Pip would take out her Messenger's crest.
Oh, that is fortuitous. Well, I say fortuitous. We have a discounted rate with them. It's just so I can invoice the guild for services rendered. And the rat turns around and dips the claw and scribbles in a ledger, a separate one this time, and then wipes the claw off again and says, "Well, if you do find them, I will be in your debt."
Well, I think we can certainly try our best to find them, as we would like to help if we can.
Indeed. And we'll be out and about in the areas that we perhaps heard this contraption the previous day, so we will definitely keep my eyes and Pipistrel's ears out.
Well then, is there anything else I could provide to help with this? Is there anything you require of me, or can you lead me to my cleaning of this awful space? And she kind of looks around at the kind of the coal dust everywhere, and you notice that parts of like the piles of metal scraps and strange canisters are kind of more organized in some areas, and others are very messy. One of the beds is made, and the others are not.
Is there any food in this room?
You notice that there is a bag of oats and several jugs on a shelf.
I think Pip will kind of look round Grimble and sort of see the bag of oats and kind of point with one very long clawed finger and say, may we steal a handful of oats for breakfast?
Well, yes. Would you prefer porridge? We could cook them.
Pip would look round at Balthazar excitedly, like, I like porridge. Have you ever had porridge before, Balthy?
I have not! I want to try porridge!
We'll do our best to make sure it cools. I don't know just how well your folk deal with hot foods. Or at least it can retain a lot of heat. Anyway, I'll get to making it. And she turns around and takes down the sack of oats and the jugs and goes to a fireplace in the room and sweeps away some of the coal dust, clearing it with a little brush before grabbing more coal and then putting it on the fire to heat it up. And takes out a small kettle and starts to make porridge with the oats and some kind of milk from the jugs.
Yum.
And seems to kind of totter around the room looking for something, kind of with this kind of a scrambling and a clattering, and then comes out with a small jar of something brown and powdered and goes over to the pot and spices the porridge.
Balthazar will propose, he can add the slug jam as like a thing into the porridge.
Ooh, yum.
And you kind of you proffer the jam, and Grimble takes it and looks at it and goes, "Ooh, I've heard of this from toads that come by. It's a delicacy you like to make. Well, I'll never say no to trying some. I suggest, like all jams, we put it on top of the porridge, not in, otherwise it'll dilute."
I will defer to your porridge-based wisdom.
Thank you. And I'll say over the course of, say, like half an hour, you make and eat the porridge. It is thick and gloopy, and it kind of leaves your mouth a little gummy afterwards, but it's definitely filling.
Good.
Nice.
That's what I was hoping.
So then whatever we might be able to scavenge outside of Willowmoot, we can prepare as like rations for the next few days.
I think that's a very good idea. So we can
But
look for bugs and things.
Balthazar, because like toads don't have teeth, so the porridge is really, really great. And for a creature like him, so he's gonna thank. I keep thinking it's Grumble. It's Grimble. It is going to thank Grimble very much for the wonderful breakfast. And say. Well, I do believe with a full belly, our searches will likely be that much more easier to undergo.
Okay.
Yeah, Pip would also thank them and be full of energy and ready and excited to go and look for this other rat.
I'm going to say you both increased your vigor dice by 1 for having a really hearty breakfast as well.
Yay!
Nice.
So, Atlanta, I think yours goes above maximum by 1 step.
Ooh, okay. Does that mean my base has gone up or just my current?
Just your current.
58?
So your base is always your
Okay.
base. It very rarely changes.
Gotcha.
But you can increase the current above the size of your base.
Hell
So let's
yeah!
say, like,
Pip
having a
buff
good
as hell.
breakfast.
I mean, is that the same for me? So I get a D10?
But you had taken a vigor damage, I think. Oh no, you couldn't wear your armor. That was it. Yeah. You also go up. Yeah. You're still
Hell
bruised. You're still bruised, but you go up to a 10. 10s,
Heck
10s across the board. Love it.
Can't wait to roll a hijinks with my D10.
Okay, so you make your way out of the bent branch, and the morning is maybe like 8 in the morning now. There's gentle kind of warmth that is starting to really rise up from the ground. You can feel like the sun is now maybe 50, 60 degrees in the sky. It is morning. Definitely like into morning. And the air is starting to heat. So what would you like to do? Or you said you wanted to go look for bugs. Describe how you're going to do that.
I think going over to, if there are like sort of patches of like longer grass, I think what Pip would do is she would start like pulling long strands of grass down towards her and checking to see if there are any like aphids and bugs like on the undersides of the grass, and then sort of grabbing them quickly and putting them into a little bug bag.
Okay. Balthazar, how are you contributing to this?
Balthazar can either help. So here's the thing: if he's helping Pipistrel, would she like get to roll an advantage or something? Because maybe he can use his strength to pull down like larger stalks that are more difficult for her to pull down. So like if Pipistrel can pull down stalks of grass, he can pull down like stalks of slightly larger plants. So she gets access to flowers and stuff.
Okay. I'd say roll a straight check. You are looking around, and you notice there are many other small beasts out trying to gather bugs.
Okay.
Oh, so
when I say many, there's maybe 50 different beasts in different directions, all scavenging around Willowmoot in the morning, trying to find food to eat. Some have children with them. Some are with partners or with friends. Others are on their own, but they seem to be combing the grass in like a spiral out from the large tree. And as you you're near the tree, so you're actually quite high up. You can see that the spiral is actually getting quite far away from Willowmoot at this point. It's maybe like 400 or 500 paces.
I thought that we've walked out of Willowmoot to do this.
Oh, so you're going to really hike out of Willowmoot. Okay.
Well, because we're gonna go to where we heard the thingamajig, right?
Yeah.
Which is like a whiles out.
Yeah. So I assume that what we would do is like kind of as we are heading out of Willowmoot, if we're sort of walking through the meadow, we would stop and look at sort of like flowers and grasses and see if there were any buggies underneath them.
Because I guess like actually if I like can't help Pipistrel, then
well, no, what I was going to say is I'll give you advantage then. Essentially, you were giving advantage, but a lot of the grass around Willowmoot had been picked clean. However, because you've left, you no longer have the disadvantage from that cancelling out the advantage, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I did imagine that we're doing this because we don't need to immediately get breakfast anymore.
Yeah.
So we're kind of fine doing it way out in the wilderness.
This is for a snack.
So you see that there are a lot of animals trying to find food within like the shelter of Willowmoot. And you decide that, it's best to really hike out, and while you're looking for food, be like looking out for the strange mechanical beetle as well, the iron beetle. So please give us a little on the map where you are looking for the whatchamacallit? The beetle.
Well,
the beetle, yeah.
Well,
see,
first of all, what are you searching for?
Yeah, so Balthazar would say, that's Grimble never did give us a name for this thing. It's like a coal accelerated rig. A car.
Oh wow.
Oh
my god, I love it.
Let's try to find this car, shall we?
Yeah, Pip sort of mulls that over and is like, yeah, I suppose. We don't really have a name for it, so I guess car will have to do.
It's not a real word, but for some reason it feels fitting, doesn't it?
I think so. I mean, we need to call it something. Yes, I suppose as we're out now, we should keep an eye out for. Well, I suppose you can keep an eye out for the tracks, and I will keep an ear out for the sounds, I suppose.
Okay, so point on the map where you're looking.
Well, so I remember that we got to the crossroads, or rather, where we saw last time was we got where's the pointer? Here's the pointer. Oh, it's like,
I think if you do control, it'll drag it.
No, because we're
at Willowmoot right now.
Yeah, no, it's that heck words. We have a grid on. If you disable the grid,
if you go to the
circle
with the ruler, and you go no snapping, that lets you to point with.
Oh, brilliant! Yes.
No snapping.
So because we went out of here, we kind of saw the camp that then the ridges joined over here.
Mm-hmm.
And they were off somewhere. We continued on the road to the crossroads here and up to Willowmoot. So we probably want to go back to those same areas.
Yeah, I think where we got to the crossroads, we could have had like the choice to maybe follow the noise, and then we didn't. So like, I think we wanted to go kind of like, if we wanted to follow noise, we would have had to go like that way. up that bit of road?
Well, no, we ended up going to the crossroads because we could have cut through or gone to the crossroads, and we decided to play it safe. So
Yeah,
I think
okay.
we
Yeah,
should
you're
go
right.
down here, go back a little bit up this road, and because we saw it on the way.
Yeah.
The path joined up to this road, and we could have walked off of it.
So we're kind of looking kind of there where I've drawn, drawn the little green circle. I should not use that color, but yeah. So we're kind of heading towards that area, and we're going to look around there because that's the last place that we heard and or saw anything to do with this weird bug thing.
So you begin hiking, and I'm going to say you're looking for bugs as you go. So make that advantage vigor roll for me.
Yay.
Or cunning. I'm going to say cunning because you're trying to be smart about it. You're trying to you're working as a team. You're trying to be more efficient at how you work. So yeah, advantage cunning.
Okay. Ver, do you want to roll first, or shall I?
Oh no, only Pipistrel's rolling because
only me. Sorry.
yeah, Balthazar is giving you advantage.
Your cunning is
Come on!
Aww.
I'm going to say you obtain one small beast's worth of bugs.
Okay.
You're noticing that a lot of the fields around here, normally not that you go around eating too many bugs, you tend to eat fruit and go for larger food and things like that, living at Oak. But the ground here is especially sparse. It's slim pickings, it seems to be.
A great pity. Oh well.
Well, if there was a fire recently, I'm sure that the smoke must have dissuaded many bugs from flying in the area. So perhaps they're still going to take a little time to come back and settle in.
You have
Make a good point.
I'd call it a carried item, and it's one bag of trail mix.
One bag of trail mix.
And it's literally a mix of bugs you found on the trail. There's a worm in there, there's a couple small aphids, there's a beetle, there's a bee, there's all sorts of weird stuff.
No, you don't eat the bees. They're
Don't eat
important.
bees.
There's a wasp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bee wasps. Obviously, sans stinger, but yes, bee wasps.
They use the wasp to pick your teeth if you have teeth, to get the. It's like a toothpick.
Oh
no,
that's
the
so
venom
cute.
sack.
Oh, but the venom. But you detach the stinger.
Yeah,
from
you
the
just
venom
use
sac
the
first.
stinger as a toothpick.
I feel like that's what dangerous people do. The cool kids.
Yeah.
They don't use a stick or a twig or a splinter. They use a bee stinger. Or wasp stinger. Okay, so you're listening and looking for sounds. I'm going to say, easily enough, because you are adept people, you are able to find the trail that was left before when it first came off the road. So not the camp. You'd have to go further for the camp. That's more over here. But instead, you find the trail, which is more where the green circle is.
Oh, cool.
Which is
okay.
there.
Nice.
Well, this car did leave quite deep grooves, and if Grymbles says that nobody really knows how to operate it, then I presume they will continue simply pushing it across the ground. So we should be able to find these tracks quite easily.
So the difficult,
certainly
well,
hope so.
you are finding that some of the grass and some of the vegetation has not mended, but it's sort of tried to unwilt itself and push back. So the trail's a little looser, but you still have the grooves occasionally in the ground to follow.
Hooray.
And so follow we shall.
Indeed.
Okay. I would like someone to make a cunning check for me. Or not cunning, but describe how they're looking for the trail.
Oh, Balthazar, if he's in his padding, he can go on just crawl like a toad on the ground and just make sure that he doesn't leave, that the trails, he can always see it. Just really...
I'm just getting you said he's like a dog and earlier, and now all I can see him is just sniffing the trail like a bloodhound.
Oh
on
my
all
God,
fours,
yes.
He's just tasting the earth. Blim.
Oh,
Yeah, he's just doing a Yoshi, blum,
Oh
Blam.
my God, yes.
every now and then.
Oh my god.
What a good
Comments,
It
by the
tastes
way,
like
going
coal.
are full of puns. Balthazar chasing about the car, which we hope hasn't gone too Balthafar.
That
Oh,
is
dear.
what he's doing. He's
I would
also
say
like he's the reason he's blemming is for like the coal dust and stuff. If it's coal powered, even if it's not using coal right now, it might scatter some dust around.
okay. I feel like Balthazar is being cunning.
No, he's being vigorous.
I will let you make one cunning roll and one vigor roll.
Thank you.
A vigor for your diligence, and also, because I don't want to give you advantage, you haven't typed a skill, but I do want to give you 2 rolls because you're being cunning and it's really cool.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. So
that rolled and was nearly not a 7.
Yeah.
So for your cunning, you've got a complication, and for your vigor, you've got a success. I'm gonna say that like you quickly stop blemming the dirt. It's a good idea, but you stop like because you're just like, oh, I've just got a mouthful of soil, and now like that pleasant slight creaminess that's come from the oat porridge is now just replaced with
Oh, soil.
grit. You're like, that was not a good idea.
Oh no!
Like toads eat bugs off the
Instead-
ground. It's just how it is.
But it's like when you just keep repeatedly missing, you get like that residue, like back feel of like, oh, it's like a Pavlovian failure.
Yeah.
But instead, you decide to try and sniff the coal. You're like, I'm close to the ground, I'm going to try and sniff out the coal. And you're able, with your vigor success, to keep on the trail. Until you're sniffing the ground, and then you catch a very strong, that same oily, tangy smell. And you find...
Grimble was here.
You find a broken half of a gear. Strange, cogged, toothy wheel. You'd seen wooden versions of these at Odoak being used by the rats there. But this is a metal one.
Odoak?
It's shiny. Not Odoak. Brambledam.
Oh.
And it's shiny on some parts, but also slick with a black coaly grease on the other.
Interesting.
It's incredibly tacky to the touch. It actually leaves some of the oil on your hand, which you're able to rub on grass, but it's like very greasy.
Well, Balthazar's gonna tear off a strand of grass and like use it like napkins on the side so he can pick it up without getting his little fingers oiled up.
You grab a dock leaf and you're able to kind of fold it up like a little lunch.
Yeah. Like the way that you would use a towel to pick up something hot, like so you don't snip your fingers, he's kind of doing that. So
And actually, it is quite warm. Not hot, but warm to the touch. Seemingly on one side because of the sun.
Well, Balthazar's gonna kind of pick this up and brandish it, and look over the ridges like at Pipistrel.
I'm just getting
Sorry.
You have gotten one broken gear. Please add that to your gear.
I don't know who's had a car horn in the background, but that just added so much to this whole scene.
I think it might have been me.
Sorry, that really got me because it's Balthazar was like, we call it a car.
But yeah, Balthazar's gonna kind of pick it up and say, well, it seems that this thing indeed needs repairs. If it's that kind of gizmo that I have seen some of the rats create, then I presume this must be part of it.
I think Pip would take the part of the gear from Balthazar and say, yes, I suppose so. That doesn't. What a strange thing. I've never seen one made of metal before.
Yeah, Balthazar kind of looks at it and says, why would you use completely fine metal for something like this? You should use metal for weapons and armor, not strange discs.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons, but these rats clearly know something that we don't to be able to make.
I don't know about that. They didn't know about Blueberry Pond. There are things they don't know.
They're clearly not. They're not as well traveled as as some other folk, perhaps Balthazar.
On that note, I think this is the point where we begin a scene for your investigation. You have 3 fortunes to pick from. I did some focused scenes, as I'm calling them, where I just prepare 3 options as opposed to a full 7 and then pick cards, because it's a focused scene on specifically tracking the car, as we're calling it. So, your first fortune is exhausted trudging. Your second fortune is doubt, not taboo, doubt begets doubt. And your third fortune is a tantalizing buffet.
Ooh.
Let's discuss which of these 3 prompts you think would be most interesting.
Oh gosh.
Doubt.
Doubt begets doubt.
I mean, so personally, I think I'm drawn to that doubt begets doubt because I don't know what direction it might be going.
Yeah, I'm kind of also intrigued by the notion of doubt. Who is doubting and what are we doubting if we are doubting? Yeah, I am most intrigued by the second option.
Same here.
Doubt begets doubt. Okay. I'm gonna mark that as chosen. You continue following the trail that you found. Pipistrel, how would you like to help contribute to tracking down this car?
I think as Balthazar is doing his best impression of a bloodhound, Pip is going to be sort of walking behind him, but sort of ears up. She'll be climbing up onto sort of taller bits of earth and rocks and things, and standing up tall and listening as best she can. Kind of as I imagine as Balthazar is kind of moving in a predominantly kind of straight line, she's kind of darting around behind him in all directions, just ears up and alert and listening.
Okay. I would say make a vigor roll for me, because you're being diligent and repetitive in the actions you're taking.
Yay! Yay!
7, a success.
Powerful, yeah.
You do as well as you can. The narrative describes how successful you are. So, you're keeping an ear out for any noises of the car, similar to the screeching sound. Or any noises at all. And aside from the occasional bit of bird song, like the faintest bit of it from the forest nearby, or the occasional chirp of a cricket some way off, there aren't a chorus of crickets, maybe just the occasional single cricket, and then it goes quiet again. You, can't really hear anything. The trail continues. Balthazar, you have bloodhounded, you've found a broken gear. What other ideas have you might to help track down this car? I'd say your general orientation, you think you have moved, I'm going to move the circle here. So actually, you notice the trail crosses over the road between Willowmoot and Bramble Dam. Not towards, but over.
Oh, what can Balthy do? He's curled on the ground. He will, so we're kind of passing through the road and passing back into the grasses. So if he's took to the ground, he will now take to the air in the form of climbing on like a taller like rock or maybe like a young tree or something to see if he can see the break in the grass of like, if maybe he can see some smoke. Because he's thinking, oh, well, if Pipistrel couldn't hear anything, maybe this gear that fell off was what was screeching. So we can't hear it anymore because it's not working. If it's not working, maybe it got broke. If it's broke, maybe there's smoke.
Okay, so you find a formidably large rock that's actually used as a direction pointer. It says Bramble Dam one day, Willowmoot one day. I think we had there's in-world fancy feels term for it. I think it's like DPR.
Yeah, or as the crow flies, but...
Yeah.
But we know it's
on
like
the
a
rocks.
day for us.
But it's actually very large in size as well, which you could try to climb. How would you like to try and climb this rock to get an aerial view?
Well, he's not very spry, so he's gonna carefully make sure that, he can get footing, and kind of crawl his way on top. Once again, he's more mobile because he doesn't have his armor. But, toads, they have short, stout legs and arms. So he's doing it, like, diligently, because he can't just parkour up, because he's not that. So yeah, he's just kind of finding footholds and helping himself up as best as he can. Toads do have a slightly adhesive tongue, so in some parts he's helping himself by just like at the
make a bigger roll for me. Also, the word we decided on is bipaw, so like it's 2 days by paw.
By foot.
Yeah.
And so you've got 2 days by wing is a slow flying beast, such as a bat, and then 2 days by swift is a fast flying beast, like a hawk.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so you roll your vigueur and you get a 4, which is a success.
Very.
And I'm gonna say, you manage to. There's a point where you slip, and Pipistrel, you're like, oh god, and then the tongue sticks. You sort of swing from the tongue on a ledge until you can scrabble like a dog and grab on and be like, and you slowly retract the tongue and then sort of, or even no, you use it to kind of winch yourself up. You're like,
hey, it's a powerful muscle,
Yeah. It's very, very big. And so you scrabble up to the top of this rock, which is maybe, 4 or 5 toads tall, actually. You look down, you get that slight of, that's a big drop. But you're able to look out over the grassland, and you're able to see the track of the machine curving slightly along this sort of path.
I see.
Wait,
Kind of scribbling it out.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. Where's the tool for that? The line drawing tool?
It is, if you look to the left, you have a pointer, a paintbrush, a zoom tool, and a round thing. It's like a upside down cube.
Yeah.
So if you mouse over that, you have the option of snap to center, snap to corners, no snapping.
You can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it does this sort of movement. Sort of curved. Oh, hang on, you're at this point. Hang on. The pointer is where it's going. So this is the sort of path it's taking.
Oh, it's going back to Bramble Dam, maybe.
Oh. Or maybe beyond.
Well, yeah, because why wouldn't they be on the road?
Because if they were going to Bramble Dam, surely they would go whoops, that's the wrong button.
What if otters stole the thing and they're taking it to because otters live in Loch Katrine. Because we've met otters before. Sorry, the toads, my toads, my people, my blueberry toads, have met otters because they're living in Loch Katrine. The bloobs, yeah, that's what you call it for ourselves. What's up, my bloobs? So maybe, because remember we saw the fish, the remnants of a fish. A steak that had fish smells on it from eating a fish. So maybe it's just straight up otter criminals.
Yeah, maybe the if it were otters who maybe they ambushed that camp of rats and stole the
car.
Stole the car off
the
them.
coal accelerated rig.
Exactly, the coal accelerated rig. They stole the car. They're car thieves. Oh my god. That's weird.
My
then.
theory.
We
don't know anything other than they seem to be heading towards a river, and we saw a fish. But I am ready to throw any otter under the bus now.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So you follow the trail?
Yes.
Yeah.
We must amend this criminal injustice. Bring those who are at fault to the light of law.
Light of law. You follow the circles round the circling kind of trail.
Well, because actually, if we see it, can we kind of just instead of going like around it to save some time, can we like go cross country to like catch up?
Gonna try and cross country that. The other reason is that you can see it because you're kind of looking downhill almost, because these contour lines are downhill towards Locatrine. So you're able to follow the trail. I would say make a cunning roll for me, both of you, to navigate yourselves.
Okie dokie.
I will grant my boon to Pipistrel.
Oh! Ignore that roll I just made.
Balthazar's like up on the rock, and so Pipistrel, as a flyer, has a very good idea of how to kind of base off of this sort of information. And while it is Balthazar conveying it, because then he goes back to the ground and he's just like, I don't know what direction is anything.
Well, I feel like it's a bit of teamwork. You're on this high point, right? And then basically you act as the toad compass for Pipistrel's map. And so, Pipistrel, you're like, point towards where there's a town called Bramble Fork on a river. Point towards that for me so I can get the map the right orientation. And then you're like, aha! And you point out like what are they called? Weather vane. Toad vane.
Toad vane.
And you point it out, and then you're able to orientate yourselves, and so you don't lose the trail moving through the grass.
Yeah, so do I still have to make my cunning check, or
no? Because you've succeeded. You've chosen for
Pipistrel to succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't add anything else to the roll.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So you orientate, you point, and you're able to start hiking through the grass. And I'm going to say you rejoin the circling trail here. Hang on, I'm drawing, not moving. Nope. Here, shaving off a lot of valuable time. And it's maybe 1 PM now. Because you've been hiking for most of the morning and walking and kind of searching. And it was a little bit slower at points where Balthazar was crawling on the ground. But you are now rejoining the trail. And you're seeing here that there is a rather significant and pungent leaking of something gooey and black. Similarly sticky as the broken gear is. Except it's sludgy and kind of along the ground.
Don't lick it. It tastes terrible.
You taste it. It is
and you know this
vile.
Experience, Balthy?
Yes. I didn't like it.
I mean...
It leaves a tarry taste in your mouth that you can't get rid of. Like you lick other things and it just they also get stuck in your mouth.
Oh god.
My hubris.
You have gained the hubris talent.
Can Pip offer Balthazar like a little snack to try and get the tar taste out of his mouth?
The worm.
You try a candied aphid if you want to.
Yeah.
I think Pip would.
Now your mouth is
her, like...
sweet and tarry and sticky and crunchy.
Oh no! I made it worse.
Yes, it's like you've got gum in your mouth and then you've just licked a cat. It's all fluffy and crunchy and dirty. And
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, Balthazar, I'm sorry.
I would say, for humor's sake, take a willpower damage.
Oh no!
Just for like the sheer disgustingness of it's like it's grating you down.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I like that my just offhand comment of the fact that he had at some point caught a whiff of the oil just turned into this actual damage to my character.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's the hijinks that we decide to take on ourselves for the sake of story. It's
I also feel like it's not hurting you. It's just lowering your mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
So his limb powers are diminished.
You rejoin the trail. There's now like a very clear leading of this sort of black goo that you're now very easily able to follow. And it is moving Again, I'm going to do the pointer thing. I'm not going to move the thing. I'm going to go to ruler. So it is moving in a sort of trailing motion.
Wait, how
like
did
this.
we not see that? If we saw it from here, wouldn't we see that it's going back?
Well, that's kind of what I meant. It was kind of going into the forest. So it enters the forest, and as you're moving, you're able to guess with the kind of the broken branches and brush that it is moving in this sort of direction.
It's not going to mushroot, is it?
No, it seems to be. Well, I don't quite understand.
I'm going to say, because it's the scale is much larger, you feel anxiety as it's moving back towards the direction you think as mushroot. You actually recognize a few of the trees, but it seems to skirt it.
Oh, okay. That's all right then. So where are they taking it?
What's up?
I would say
don't
I would like
understand.
a vigor roll just to see how fast you trek through the forest.
Okay, yeah, we're...
Or describe how you're moving through the forest. I keep asking for a check, but really it's on you guys to decide what you guys do. So you're trekking through the forest. How are you trekking through it?
I think if we have a kind of pretty good grasp on, like, you know, like we can still see the tracks, like they're still vaguely visible. Like I would say that we're probably moving at a sort of relatively fast pace because it sounds like there's like a team of creatures that have taken this thing. And Balthazar also not inhibited by armor at the moment. Like we can move at a relatively fast pace, I think.
Yeah,
what do you
I would
think?
agree.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
break out into brisk jog.
Well, I'd say it's a vigor roll then, because you're being... Yeah.
A vigor roll. Hooray!
Oh, I've been rolling so poorly today.
What did you guys get? You got a successful completion. I'm going to say they balance out the 5 and the 3 to a 4. You guys make it, it's like a couple hours of hiking. So it's now like 3, 4 in the afternoon. It's not like anything dangerous has happened.
Okay, that's right then.
Yeah, Balthazar will, I guess it's just the tar is just making him, like, just... Sometimes he stops and is trying to get the taste out of his mouth and can't.
Oh, I feel bad.
And you
It's
notice...
his fault for licking tar. It's not... He has nobody but himself to blame.
You skirt round Mushroot following this trail, and you notice that it's moving this sort of... Hang on, I've not got the right tool selected. There we go. It's moving this sort of direction. You think, as you are now going back uphill, that it's going to cross over the path again. And move
Do you
around.
reckon they're returning to the camp? What are they doing? Is this a joyride?
I have absolutely no idea. This is a very strange route to take because they don't seem to be taking it anywhere.
Well, I'm just exasperated with them. It feels like they're wasting our time a little bit. Oh goodness, what if they just returned to Willowwood after all this?
Oh god, I swear to Jeebus.
Jeebus Gerbil, the great creature of legends.
Exactly. Jeebus the gerbil.
Have you heard of Jeebus? Our Lord and Saviour.
He
Deliver us from hunger.
He went to Elsewhere for our sins.
Yeah, Jeebus Crust.
Jeebus crust.
he was a bread maker. Sorry, I'm getting off track again. I mean, unless we have any new information, I guess we just keep following up this bloody trail and see.
Wait, so overall, let me see. So they kind of went. Let's see. They kind of went like here, and then like here, and then are going back.
They're kind of but skirting round mushrooms.
A little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this?
I think we're like
Balthazar's like exasperated.
Yeah, Pip is the same. Like, what the heck are they doing? They just like feel like we're on, excuse the expression, we're on a wild goose chase right now. It was geese who stole it. No, it wasn't.
Oh, or no, geese and red herrings.
Geese and herring.
They were eating the red herrings.
Or maybe it was herrings eating geese. You'll never know until you...
Yeah.
That would be terrifying. That's some Gyo stuff.
I know, right?
They had the rats engineer feet for them. It's
Oh my
so
god.
terrible. Well, dang. I mean, at this point, Balthazar's like, maybe they really are returning to Willow. Maybe they're just bad with directions, and it's just the rats trying to return to Willowmort.
I mean, maybe they got too close to Mushroot, and that barn owl scared them away. Who knows? I mean, do you want to keep following them, Balti, or should we take a break?
I mean, we've committed to this, and at the very least, we can tell Grimble that whoever took the cart has completely lost their mind, and we cannot find them anymore.
So you continue following the trail, thinking you're going to go back to Willowmoot.
Mm.
And you notice it starts to curve again.
Oh my god.
There is now a much... it's impossible for you not to be able to follow where this thing has gone. You notice that it crashes through some brush. There seem to be, there's large digging motions in the dirt now. Yeah, that seems to be the direction it's kind of going. There is a thick, globs of sludge that are spattered on the ground. I would like Pipistrel to make a cunning roll for me, because you said you were listening for things earlier, to see how well you are at hearing things.
Okay. Oh, damn it.
Oh, I wish I could use my power.
I'm gonna say that you...
Pip, can you tag anything?
Oh, I don't know if there's anything I can tag again.
Your curiosity?
I mean, unless I could tag my inquisitive nature that, the further we wander around on this sort of quote-unquote, wild goose chase, the more Pip is like, right, well, we have to come across them soon. So she is listening very, very intently because of her inquisitive nature. And the more that we get kind of run around, the more intrigued she is by, what the hecky these guys are doing with this.
I'd say that's a fair tag of the skill. I'll let you get advantage. You can roll again.
God damn it! I'll take the 2 then.
Yep. A 1 for a high cheeks and a 2 for complication. You'll have the complication. You barely managed to pull it off, not without consequence. Now, it describes how the situation becomes more complicated. You're trudging along, and at this point, I think you're now arguing with each other, where the hell is this bloody CAR going? Honestly, it's such a joyride. It's not gone to Willowmoot. It's crazy. I mean, who wouldn't know that's going here? And you're walking along, and you cross some brush that has been pushed over, and instead you enter into a scene that has unfolded. It seems to have kind of unfolded before you got there. I'm going to change the music. The car itself, or CAR, is this strange, smooth, circular contraption that seems to be smashed into a large rock. One of the wheels has fallen off. It has 5 wheels, 2 on the sides and 1 on the back. It has strange spindly legs and strange positions, and it seems to be that all of the shell of the beetle itself is kind of completely covered with lids that seem to occasionally, one flaps open and a bit of steam kind of pops out, very quiet. There are several beasts. 1 is a squirrel, and 3 are coal tits. The coal tits are kind of perched on various bits of the machine, and the squirrel is kind of sat by one of the wheels on it, kind of looking very glum. They aren't looking at each other. And then you kind of come into the scene, and they all kind of turn and look at you. And the squirrel goes, hello. Who are you?
I am Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, and this is Pipistrel, messenger of Old Oak. And who are you?
The blue tits and the squirrel quickly look at each other, and they go, we're but humble, and then the squirrel continues, we're but humble travellers. We were walking the road when some brutish otters took us. They told us they were going to sell us for slaves, and they bundled us into this strange beast. We were rescued by this very, very brave rat, and now he's gone off to say that he can fix this machine and take us to somewhere safe. My name is... Hang on, I have it written down. Hang on.
No.
My name is Chipper, and these are my compatriots, Merry Sweet, Meadowsong, and Crier. And the coal tits kind of chirp off with a sort of a in kind of harmony.
Nice.
As Chipper kind of points them off. We're a travelling troupe, you see.
A traveling troupe, or it's quite the show that it seems you put up here. We've been tasked by the engineer Grymble to try to find the whereabouts of not just this contraption, but its maker, perhaps this rat that saved you. Where do you say that he went?
He went into the woods. He said he could try and find a log from which to carve more gears. You see, the otters that took this strange... He calls it an iron beetle. Well, they didn't know how to drive it.
Coal accelerated rig. That's a better name.
Coal accelerated rig. Well, good Sir Knight, you would know more than I would.
I know many things.
And the squirrel gives you a sort of a curious look of, oh. And the squirrel says, the fair rat, what was his name? And one of the coal tits says, it was a Lutson. And the squirrel says, yes, Lutson strode off into the woods very boldly to look for wood to carve more gears. The beetle, he said, needs gears, whatever they are. The otters that took us didn't know how to drive such a strange beast and crashed it before running off on their own into the woods, and we've been stuck here since, lost and afraid.
Wait just a moment. They ran into the woods. The same woods that the rat went to?
No, they ran north towards a river.
Yeah, sorry.
When did the otters leave you? Is that why you've been going around in circles?
The otters were... Oh, it's such a blur, but the otters drove us around. I say drive, they wouldn't use the word drive. They would use the words... Led. The otters led us around in a blur of speed and chaos. They ran off sometime before dawn, and Lutson found us later in the morning.
How many of these terrible otters were there that took you?
Oh, it must have been at least 5 or 6. They were terrifying, brutish things.
Balthazar is looking at the squirrel and looks at the iron beetle and says, "Well, how did they fit in the car?"
Some were in, some were on top. You see, there was a carriage here, and we were all packed in with their things, and they rode on it and on the side. I think it was a bit of a mess. Maybe it's why this poor thing crashed.
And Landon, you say, went to carve gears from wood, he says, holding onto the metal gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he went off into the woods. We've not seen him for some time, and... Well, maybe the better part of the day, we were just deciding what we might try to do, when you seem to have found us. Perhaps if you find Lutson, we'll all be able to make it home together.
How much story are we buying?
Sorry, you both spoke at the same time.
Sorry.
I wanted to... Balthazar will ask, where is home for you?
Well, I humbly say home. We're a travelling troupe, so anywhere that you would call home, we'll put on a show and make our dinner. The squirrel says very enthusiastically.
Like, Balthazar's pretty trusting, but their story doesn't add up to him, because he's just like, the very simple equations he's making in his head is 5 otters can't fit. Is this a clown car? Like, 5 otters can't fit in that.
I love the idea of Balthazar with the gif of like the blonde woman doing math, but it's just like 2 + 2, 1 - 3.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the complex geometry.
Yeah,
Balthazar right now is that meme of the guy from Heavy Rain doing like X to doubt.
Yeah, press X to doubt. Yeah,
press X to doubt.
I mean, he's not suspicious of like, because he's a pretty trusting individual, but it's just something's not right, and he's trying to figure out like, hang on a second, like he's not casting. He's not like, oh, you're lying. He's just like, wait, what is the story? Like, he's confused right now, but because he doesn't, things aren't adding up. Because he's not like a suspicious person. So, but something's just not right.
I like that in his head. He's like, I'm not a suspicious person, but I am suspicious.
Yeah. No, he's just trying to. He doesn't understand like what like he's he can't figure out how the story fits, and he's trying to make it work in his head.
Pip is definitely like, I would definitely say like she is suspicious right now, because there's so many of them. There doesn't seem to be hide nor hair of an otter in sight, or a rat. I don't know. I think I'm not buying it. I don't. This something ain't right. Whoops! I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
I mean, me as a player am also suspicious, because, like, otters are huge.
Yeah, they are.
How big is this
the
car?
real question. It's pretty big. But I would say you're rightfully suspicious to think 5 otters would fit inside or on top of it.
Yeah, like anywhere around it. That seems like an awful lot of otters. Considering this seems to be an entire troop of squirrels and cultists.
No, it's the one.
Well.
It's the
one squirrel and 3 cultists.
Oh yeah, so like, but you know, like if I
feel they've been joyriding.
Yeah, like if I imagine, because like cultists will probably be kind of similar in size to Balthy and Pip, but like a squirrel will be a little bit bigger because they are bigger rodents. So like
I would say well, first of all, bats aren't small. Like, you're the size of a squirrel. Different mass in different places, but like
squirrels are bigger than a brown-eared bat. Brown-eared bats are like a squirrel.
Oh, I thought you were a long-eared bat.
I am a long-eared brown bat, but like but they are like like a long-eared brown bat would be about the same size as like oh god, what's a good comparison? Like
I saw a gif of a squirrel eating a piece of pizza. Could a bat carry and eat a piece of pizza?
Oh, absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
They're tiny.
They're like
they like fit like
in the palm of a hand.
Yeah, like in a quarter of your hand, or like less than more than a quarter.
So Balthazar, Pipistrel, and the cultists would all roughly be kind of the same size. Like Pip would definitely be she'd be slightly lankier, and like her wings and her ears would kind of make her look bigger, but she's not huge. Like a squirrel will be much more around the same size as like a rat.
We need a size chart.
Yeah, I will. Okay, that is something I'll do.
I drew the squirrel.
Okay. Yay.
Oh, squirrel. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. So like, but the cultists would be around the same size as Pip and Balthazar. So like, so you have like sort of 3 small creatures, a sort of medium creature, and then otters, which would be considered like large creatures. Like, X to doubt.
Yeah.
I'm doing the verb.
I love
the question is, what do you do with the stout? What do you guys do?
Oh, Balthazar says... Oh, sorry. No, Pip, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think just Pip, because who I imagine is standing next to Balthazar and has been like listening to all of this very intently, would kind of lean over just very gently into sort of Balthazar's ear and says, I would say, is like, something doesn't feel right here. Wouldn't you agree, Balthy?
I would make a cunning roll it's
Yeah.
difficult
It's not just the tar
to
in
lean
my
over
mouth.
and be like, oh, I'm going to make a subtle message in front of
just
a group of 4 people who are not that far away from you.
just like out the corner of her mouth. Oh, come on! Why now? Why now do I have to roll badly when things are happening? God damn it.
I feel bad that I thought I'm so good using that thing earlier to track them, and it's just like, don't matter, they're going in circles, joyriding actors.
So,
They're not a theater troupe,
you,
they're the
you
entire
lean
circus!
over. You lean over, and you think that you're being really subtle. So you think that they don't know that you've just said this, but you're like, they're really suspicious. I don't trust them. Also, they look really dangerous. Bad vibes. But you think you're being really slick about it.
Yeah, I don't think she would necessarily say like that explicitly, but I think the phrase that she would have uttered would be like, something doesn't feel right here. But obviously loud enough that they would have heard it. Come on, Pip, you're a whispering bat. Be quiet, silly girl.
Wait, don't you have a skill where you're just kind of like unseeable, like you're very subtle?
Yes, but it wasn't
I
tagged.
do.
Roll's
But
been
it
made.
wasn't
I think
tagged.
we've moved on.
Yeah. So I'm just
okay.
I remembered too late, which means I didn't remember at all. I let you remember it for me.
Well, when you say that, Balthazar like looks at Pip, and you know he always talks at loud
Balthazar
volumes.
volume.
Yeah, Balthazar volume. So he just says, "I know. How would 5 otters fold up into this car?"
Well, as I said, and the squirrel looks really hurt, kind of taken aback, and her hands raise up a little bit, and she goes, "Oh, well, as I said, it was also chaotic, and it wasn't comfortable in there. And then some were riding on top, and some were inside. It was just so scary." And she looks a little like downtrodden now, and like, oh, I thought these people were here to help me.
Oh, okay. I think
Hey, she is an actor.
yeah, I think Pip is like there's like a little tiny twinge of guilt, but I think to try and save face, she'd ask the squirrel like, sure. Which way did these otters go?
Well, they jumped off like into the woods somewhere.
So you're here. Gonna move the green circle. Blam.
Let me see. Oh, there we go. Blame.
The squirrel, Chipper, says, "Oh well, the otters went this way. We think they might have." And she kind of points this way, and you're able to orientate. She says, "Oh, they went this way, towards the lock. And our lovely friend Lutzen went this way into the forest. He said he was going to look for some wood to carve a gear so that he could fix this strange contraption to get it back to a place called Willowmoot."
But wait, that's I don't. Now I am no engineer, but from what Grymble told us, this thing requires some manner of coal to run. I don't think that the gear could help. It seems that it is out of food as a contraption. So I don't know what Landon is
thought
thinking.
of that as well. He said that a little bit of wood would be enough to get it going, and he said we might have to push it. Not that these 3 would be any help. And the squirrel kind of gives a little nod towards the birds, who look regally indignant. But I'm willing to put a hand in, and so is he. And
How long ago did he leave?
well, this was in the morning when he found us. I think he's been trailing us or at least the cart for some time. Because we were bundled up into the cart all of a sudden in the middle of the night by these otters and driven off, and that's when it crashed into this rock and they abandoned us.
Oh, you had a camp. I
Yes,
think we might
they
have
made us.
stumbled up.
They made us sleep on the ground. They were so cruel. Where they slept in this tent and where they abandoned everything.
Where did they catch you?
I see you've got a map there. Might I orientate ourselves and then point us out?
I mean, Balthazar would say, yeah, of course. He'd pull it out and...
So, you pull out the map, and they say that they were on their way to Willamute, which they've never been to before. But were on their way there from the east. They'd come along the eastern road here. And they had been captured somewhere here-ish, they say.
Balthazar will say...
the cart had taken them along, and they camped by the side of the road.
Isn't that where we found the camp?
Yeah, we did find a camp.
So the places correlate. Like the camp that you found that Balthazar had steamrolled into, haha, pun intended, was here.
Yeah. Well, Balthazar will say, well, that is quite terrifying. These otters, were they from some kind of band camp, or were they bandits? Well, this is very far away for otters to...
The squirrel laughs and says, no, we would be from a band camp. I don't believe that they are band... Well, I wouldn't know. Honestly, I don't run in with bandits.
Did they have any... It's just worrying that some manner of otter thugs could be running about so far away from the rivers. Are you not afraid to just sit here and wait? It's quite easy to track you. Maybe we should escort you to Willowmoot and come back here, and if Landon makes his way back, we can help him, and if he doesn't, we can go from here and try to find him in the forest.
Side note, did you call him Landon?
Oh, is that not his name?
No, his name is Lutzen, but I love the idea that someone's called Landon, like Landon Town. Landon.
That his name was Landon.
Love it. To this, Chipper replies, "Oh well, perhaps I'll stay here as I'm one of the larger, and the cold tits will travel with you. You take them to Willowmoot, and I will stay here in case Lutzen returns to tell him what's happened. That we've been also double rescued. Good fortune for us."
I think Pip would chime in here and be like, "Oh, sounds like you've been through such a terrible, terrible ordeal, though. Why don't you go with Balthazar, and I'll stay here and wait for Lutzen?"
To which the scroll pauses and goes, "Oh, but your bandaged wing. Are you hurt too? This must be such a brave night to have rescued all of us this day. Surely it's best if I stay and then because I was relatively unharmed in the kidnapping, you see."
"Oh, dear squirrel, don't fret yourself. This is merely a flesh wound. Nothing to worry about. I'm quite well."
Pipistrel has incredible hearing. If anything snuck up here, she would be able to hear it from very far away and hide.
I'm very good at staying out of trouble, and she winks.
Well, I don't know about that, Pipistrel, but you are very cunning.
Thank you, Balti.
The squirrel gives a little look towards the coal tits, and the squirrel says, "Well, what do you think, my friends?" And the coal tits go, "Oh, well, I would like to be somewhere safe, please. Oh, it is so lonely out here. We try to go to Willowmoot, but we shall go there now."
Anything to get these singing birds away from me.
I love it.
Balthazar, meanwhile, is just very taken. Well, this will be a very fun travel, I believe, with such wonderful singers.
Well, how about we do the best of both? Chipper is speaking, by the way. I will stay here with Pipistrel, and the coal tits shall be escorted to Willowmoot where they'll be safe.
Balthazar considers this, and says, "Well, you did offer Pipistrel, but, do you think you'll be, would that arrangement be fine with you? I wouldn't want to leave you here if you feel like you'd rather have me by your side. After all, I am supposed to protect you on our journey, so if you should you momentarily discharge me of that duty to escort these fine bird folk, I could certainly do that.
I think Pip would consider Balthazar for a minute, because like, I think in truth she wouldn't want to be left alone without Balthazar, but given the situation, I think she would say, well, this is very important, Balthi, and we can't leave these dear folk out here alone after such a traumatic experience. And the route back to Willowmoot won't be nearly as meandering as the route we took here, so I'm sure you'll be back.
It was very meandering.
It was.
It was very, very odd drive.
Exactly.
I'm coming up with the word driving now. I don't know what it means, but it feels fitting for a car.
It does. I think you clearly understand this machine far better than the rest of us, my dear
I have
friend,
a connection with it after I let to the oil.
Exactly.
You've
God.
made a blood bond.
He's having an out-of-body experience. But this, Balthazar, this is very. I suppose this is very important. But one of us must wait for this rat to come back, and I will hear him coming a long way off, I'm sure.
And you'd be able to tell Lutzen about Grymble and how she wishes that he would come back. And I suppose I can, returning to Willowmoot, I can fill her in, tell her about this terrifying ordeal that these folk were through, and report that you are waiting for Lutzen. And let's agree that if Lutzen comes back, you will head straight to the road up to Willowmoot, and I will follow that road as well. And should we should he come back and you're traveling to Willowmoot before I make it back here, we will very likely find each other.
Exactly. I think that's a wonderful plan, and I'm sure we shan't be parted for too long.
Indeed. I mean, well, it's actually quite a walk to Willowmoot, so it's going to be a good several hours, but I'll be back. Yes.
Well, precisely. It shan't be weeks or days or months. It'll be hours at least. But yes, I think that's probably the most sensible course of action.
Balthazar nods enthusiastically because he's happy to help these poor traumatized birds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's a nightly thing to do.
So Balthazar starts to escort the three cold tits back to Willowmoot. And Pipistrel remains with Chipper to wait for Lutzen. We will start with... Who would like to go first? Because we're splitting the party.
Ooh.
I feel like Balthazar's might be a little bit more, I don't know, mundane. I don't know what Chipper's up to, but I feel like... Because Balthazar's going to go to the road and walk, like, up the road and ask the cultists to sing with them.
Oh no, I'm missing that. God
Like a
I feel like we're
kind
going to
of
start with Balthazar.
barber quartet of a toad and three cultists.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Balthazar first. So, Balthazar, you strike out back along the trail towards the path, and it's gonna be maybe like an hour going through the wilderness before you get back to the road. Or no, it's maybe like 20 minutes, not that far, because you have to go east towards the road and then up the road from towards Willowmoot. So you're walking along, you disappear into the brush, and the cold tits are politely bobbing along on the ground with you, hopping along, instead of flying off.
He appreciates this.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to say, well, my good fellows, I don't believe we've had many traveling troops through where I was stationed or living previously. If you're singers, how about we sing a song together to make the journey a little easier for us?
Oh, that would be wonderful. What kind of song would you like to sing?
Both
and this is they seem very good at harmonizing, but this is the Coltit Meadow Song.
Meadow Song, okay. Balthazar thinks a bit and he says, toad music is very distinct. How about you sing the songs for your performances, and and he kind of like smiles and says, improvise.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Hey, he's beatboxed before, right? So that's what he's gonna be doing. He's gonna be like croak boxing, beat croaking.
So there's this sort of. I want you to describe how you're beatboxing to me.
He's just going. So he's gonna move his, or rather than beatboxing, like as they're going to be harmonizing and trilling, he's gonna move his satchel around so he has his armor a little bit like a drum. And he's gonna be using that as a drum and using like his croaking as an additional like rhythmic percussion thing.
The old drum kit.
The old drum kit.
I would say make a willpower roll. I feel like you're just very passionately going into this.
Do I still have a diminished dice because of the tar?
Yes. Specifically for singing and for croaking and stuff like that.
Oh no!
Like,
Yeah, I did it though! Oh, okay.
Heck yeah.
You rolled a 5, which is a success. You are very happily beatboxing away and slapping. You're enjoying the tunes. They're singing about. I'm going to say you recognize them as river shanties. For sailing on boats and for keeping time. You've seen these on boats on Loch Katrine, where birds sit in the equivalent of like the actually no, it's called the crow's nest, because on the biggest ships that's where the crow sits.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
So in the bird's nest on the top of ships, keeping track and directing people, you know, where land is and directions and reading maps and stuff like that. And also for rowers, because you can't reliably sail on a loch, not like you can, as you've heard, on the ocean. So they have rowers, and so they maintain tunes and songs that the rowers sing.
Well, Balthazar will actually be like quite taken by this, and when we finish the song, he will say, "Look, I have heard songs like that before for the sailors on Loch Katrine. Are you perhaps yourselves from that area, or from some other sailing community?"
Okay, make a willpower roll as well. This is just how chatty you are.
Oh. Hey, I'm successfully chatty.
Yeah.
Barely, but I am.
So the Cold Tits, Merry Sweet, and Meadow Song, and Cry all kind of look at each other, and Cry responds, "Well, yes, we're from the area. We
you
do
can
love."
talk normally. I thought you could only sing. That's incredible.
We were putting on a performance for you. We like to endure the persona of the arts.
But no need for a persona here. We can all speak very frankly. We're fast friends by now.
Well, you never know who is a potential client. Yes. And Merry Sweet picks up and says, "Well, I prefer to harmonize when I sing, for my voice is the most beautiful of the troupe." And you see that Meadow Song and Crier kind of roll their little black beady eyes at this. Meadow Song picks up and says, "Well, yes, we're from Loch Katrine, but we are very good at picking up songs of all areas. Yes. So why don't we stick with little ditties from the loch? I'm sure those are the ones that we have best practiced."
I would very much like that.
And
he's not gonna, read into that at all if there's anything to be read into, such as, "We're from Loch Katrine. The otters is where Loch Katrine is." Who knows? I love it!
I'm gonna say you walk for several hours. And you get to the point where you could see Willowmoot. Like the tree is approaching on the horizon. It's maybe another half hour away. And you've been happily singing and drumming, and you've been doing all sorts of sea shanties. And I'm going to say you've seen some creatures pass you on the road as well, have been very happy. You see the same otter from yesterday trudging past on the way back to Willowmoot, and seems to kind of get the drum in his step. and gives you a curious look, but not as long and as drawn out as the one yesterday as he passes.
Balthazar inclines his head and like tips his boater hat because he still thinks that the otter just really likes his hat.
Oh!
You notice the otter giving a little smile as he kind of walks away, which you entirely attribute to the boater hat, because he must adore it, and it's not because there's like a traveling troupe of musicians just jamming on the way.
No, it's the hat.
It's the
Come
hat.
on.
The music's nice, but come on, it's the hat.
Like, have you seen this hat?
Yeah. And it is, as you get to Willamoot, that you notice that Crier has kind of, maybe like 5 minutes in, Crier's kind of stopped singing. You turn around, you notice the others are starting to peter out, and they're hopping a little further away from you. Not away, but like they're a little bit more distant. As you've been drumming along.
Yeah, well, Balthazar kind of like slows down a little bit, assuming that his strong-toed feet are just too vigorous for these flying creatures. And he's going to say, well, what is it, my fellows? We're approaching Willamoot. Look, you can already see part of the willow itself. It was burned down, you see. It's quite a sorrowful sight, but the perseverance of the rest of the town is very impressive. I imagine if we entered with a song in the air and a spring in her step, you would make quite the impression. I feel the people there could really use that kind of joyful music that you can make. And when Chipper joins you, you would have a wonderful show.
Meadowsong kind of gets a little closer, the others stay a bit more distant, and says, well, we're just so nervous to perform without our wonderful leader, Chipper. Why don't we stay out here on the outside of town and wait a while in case they return? I'm so sure that Lutzen must have found them by now.
Well, but in that case, we can go and tell Grimble that we'll soon find Lutzen, hopefully, and besides, look at this wonderful show that we've put on so far. I'm sure Chipper is very talented, but let's be real, this has been pretty good.
Oh, hubris should definitely be a new skill of yours. Meadowsong looks down, a little dejected, and says, well, image is always so important when making a first appearance, and I wouldn't want to do it without a Chipper in case it seemed that we had abandoned them, or Chipper wasn't as important. We're a group of 4, you see.
Well, we're a group of 4 right now. Besides, there's something to be said about a dramatic entrance. I'm sure if a Chipper appears amidst your performances, it will make quite the impression. Come along now, there's no need to tarry, and I am quite tired and hungry. Maybe we'd be able to find something good to eat in Willamoot.
Crier actually does take a couple hops forward when you mention food. And you notice that Merry Sweet hops forward once, and then Crier looks back, and they then both glance at Meadowsong. And there's a pause.
What is it, my friends?
Well, I mean, please camp with us and keep us safe, but we really don't want to enter Willamoot without our friend Chipper. It would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. You know, as performers.
Well, but...
We live and die by this trade, you know.
Die? What do you do during your performances?
Well, if we aren't good, if we don't maintain a good image, we could starve. No one would feed us.
Balthazar is just kind of like blinking because he doesn't know the trials and tribulations of the life of an actor.
Who does? Who can understand
really,
my
It
suffering?
truly does. The Hollywoods that they come from are a different life than the one he knows. I think he's just kind of like, no. He looks over at Willamoot and kind of back at them and says, but we're so very close. We have a room in the bent branch, and I'm sure we could find whatever place or a suitable, comfortable place for you to sleep in. And besides, you said that there's that persona that you put up. Well, perhaps for this evening you could let that mask rest and be yourselves in Willermoot before anybody else. Before you begin your rekindle that life of a troop. I mean, it sounds like you've been through quite a lot. I feel like you have to rest a little bit.
Oh, well, rest would be wonderful. Please, could you point out where this bent branch is? It's such a strange place. We need to orientate ourselves. This is a meadow song.
What? I mean, it's right. Well, because it was like on the healthy side of the willow, right? He'd just say, well, you kind of describe where it is and say, there's a hedgehog innkeeper and a bunch of other things and say, well, I can just take you there. It's just,
now I'm going to say,
just a short walk away.
That the three birds are going to try and fly away from you as fast as they can.
Mother!
Meadow Song is close enough. I feel like you're being cautious enough. Oh, I describe it. That it's not like it's just over there. You turn around and they're gone. So like what would you want to try and do when Meadow Song tries to fly away from you? Like there's like a flap. You feel the brush of the air as Meadow Song draws their wings back and starts to try and like flap away because tits are quite flappy birds.
I feel like. Okay, toads, the way that they quote-unquote hunt is very movement-oriented.
Oh my god.
So I feel like he has a very fast reflex when he needs to. So there's just like, and he's like a knight, and he is trained, and there's just that moment, and they've been kind of weird. Like, he has been picking up on the fact that they're acting really, really weird. He doesn't understand why. But he makes a very, very split connection of like, they are running away. They strung us along. Oh my god, Pip? Like, what is just Chip? Live and die by the acting? They're gonna kill Pip! And just his hat, like, I feel, he's going to, I feel like he's just kind of gonna use his just use his tongue. Just blem the.
Well, you could. I feel like that you could like try and grab like a leg or something.
Yeah. He's gonna blem the just pure instinct. Blem the creature. Okay,
I'm gonna say that's a vigor roll.
Okay.
And it's contested. I can do this. It's contested against Meadow Song's roll to see who does what.
Do you want to go first?
Bang! 5 on a d8.
No!
I'm gonna say that, like, the realization that you've been duped, suddenly it comes to you and the tongue lashes out. How determined are you to hold on to this, to Meadow Song?
Very determined, because, this is not chivalrous of them.
I'm just trying to find
they are
the
liars.
Right music. Is it this track?
They are liars and crooks and cowards.
Oh, and that's not it. Hang on. I wanted to get this one. Yes. This is a bit more sinister. You lash the tongue out. I'm going to say that, like, you are, like, almost... It feels like it's almost pulled out of your head. You take a vigor damage, but you are, like, you're pulled along with the force of this bird fleeing. You kind of collapse onto the ground, but your tongue is firmly round the leg.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that, as opposed to just letting the bird get away, this is kind of like your undaunted trait kind of coming in. That just kind of slaps and grabs. And as Meadow Song feels their leg is grabbed, they just say, go, go! And Merry Sweet and Crier disappear into the now descending dusk. It's kind of like, it's maybe like 5, 6. So like the sun is kind of hanging low in the afternoon, it's golden hour, and they fly off. distinctly back in the direction that you have come from.
Balthazar.
And then like Meadow says, go, and then Meadow slaps into the ground, and that's sort of as you kind of like because of the weight of like and smacking a bird down, it'd be fun.
Balthazar's gonna. I feel the reason the complication was because he still had like a slightly oily. It comes back to him licking oil again.
That's why it worked, because you had the sticky oil on your tongue.
Oh, okay. So I thought that was like, so he's gonna slam, what was the name? Meadow Song. Like, bring Meadow Song down.
Yeah.
And like, replace the sticky tongue for just his hand, like, on the leg. And look down at Meadow Song. I feel like if the sun is slightly setting, toads have like golden eyes, but now they kind of have this orange glow to them because of the glare of the sun as he's standing over this creature.
Well, I kind of like the idea that actually your face is in really dark shadow because the sun's at your back.
Oh, okay, but the eyes are like reflective.
Yeah, like you've got all these golden glints of eyes, and the rest of your face is shadow.
Yeah, because he already has that real, like, he kind of is just like, oh, this is what's happening, and he's gonna, as he's standing over Meadow-san, he says, actors are you? It seems you are liars, crooks, and cowards. What are you doing?
Just asking, how stressed is Balthazar? Because I think he said he was feeling a lot of panic.
I don't think he's not. I think he's very much like down to business.
Okay.
He's a strict knight. I don't think he's gonna be stress toxing.
That was what I was hinting at.
Yeah, no, depending on what Meadow-song says, like, we're gonna gut your bat friend, then he'll start stressing. But right now, he's just righteously,
so you've got, like, I'm gonna say you've got two hands on the legs of Meadow-song. So Meadow-song's able to kind of, like, flap, but it's feeble because you've got a vice grip, and there's no way that a cultic could fly off with a toad.
Yeah.
So Meadow-song is like, get off me! Get off me! And is kind of struggling.
So that's what's underneath that act, is it?
Of course it is. Who sings like that?
Well, I thought it was very nice.
Well, more's the fool you. Get off me, you fat lug. You bloated logwort.
I don't know what any of these things you're saying are. Curse you. He keeps his grasp firm on this leg, and says, "My friend Pip is sure she stayed with this leader of yours, and now your fellows are going back. What is your plan? What are you doing?"
Well, obviously we took the bloody thing. What else would we be doing?
5 otters couldn't fit in there.
No, of course not. God. Chip is such an idiot. And is now just struggling. Like, realizes that they're telling you things that they don't want to be telling you, and just keeps trying to struggle. I'm gonna say make a contested check. They're trying to struggle loose of you. So how would you want to try and hold on to them?
He is. I think he wants to intimidate this creature, and he's going to kind of take off one hand from their leg and reach for his hammer.
Ooh, okay. Roll willpower then. Have you got any skills you could tag?
Not really for this, because Anna's taking care of equipment. I'll show you how to take care of equipment!
After I crush your skull. Okay, yes. Roll willpower.
So not really.
For appealing to emotions. Ooh, a 6 on a d10 definitely beats a 3 on a d6. And you release one hand, you're still able to just very comfortably hold this very light and airy bird and grab your hammer, and there's just like as you kind of like thud it onto the dirt of the road.
Yeah, right,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
And then Meadow Song goes very still. And is sort of just looking at you with kind of wide, like small but wide dark eyes.
And Balthazar says, you heard what I said to Pipistrel back there. It is my duty to protect her. What are you planning?
Well, so long as she doesn't get in the way, I don't think she'll be any harm's way.
Balthazar kind of continues looking, because this is a kind of like a no answer, and says, well, you said this Lutzen was with you. What happened to him?
Well, it's true, he went off to go fix the thing. Clearly thought our little travelling troupe was in desperate need of help. Oh, no.
Stop that! I don't like these lies coming out of your beak.
Well, a minute.
And I can have a pretty short temper, he says, like, jamming the hammer down again.
And the cultid is a little more, like, shies away from it. One leg kind of, like, feebly scratching at the dirt. And they go, well, the minute that beetle's fixed, we're off. Only thing they've got to deal with is, well, guess that bat and that rat. And I think on that point, we'd fade scene.
Yes.
Sort of like the, oh, well, if they don't get in the way, and then there's sort of like the camera lifts up. Now, the question is, it's 3 o'clock. Do we want to keep playing? Because we're starved of Beast Fable content.
I mean, I'd be fine to like resolve whatever Pip's scene is, and then kind of end it there, maybe.
Well, I feel like Pip's scene wouldn't necessarily revolt. I think it's gonna go at least for another hour, so maybe we just dramatic finish for today's episode.
Yeah, I suppose it could be like, unless they get in the way, and Balthazar just like looks in the direction, looking at the fleeting shadows of the tits in the coal tits in the distance. At the birds in the distance. For a moment, the English language lied to me.
Let's be real. Tits is still the appropriate term here.
Yes, looking at the shapes of the fleeting birds in the distance, and maybe at that point, a bead of that toxic
starts to well the sweat.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say,
worried about Pip.
Like, if it was a TV show and we were using cameras, like, the doesn't get in the way, we'd pan back to, like a little scene of, like, Pipistrel fiddling with something in her pack, and then just the squirrel Chipper sitting on the machine, scowling down at Pipistrel. Like, all of the lovely fresh, like, gone. Like, death glare. And then we'd, like, cut the episode.
Oh, God.
I
really wish I left my boon for...
Well, it's the end of a scene. Because you tracked. So we're going to do a review. So, how did you guys feel you acted? Your prompt, your fortune that you chose was doubt begets doubt. Which was the scene, the theme of work. So work is sloth and diligence. The two sides of work.
I mean, I feel like Balthazar was diligent, because he's just like, oh, these poor folk, well, I'll bring them back. Are you fine with that, Pipistrel? All right, let's sing on our way. Like, I mean, he reacted, like, obviously not mega virtuously at the end, but he's like, he's a knight, right? Like, he's about upholding these values, so he can get pretty aggressive about it.
Well, but I feel like virtuous doesn't mean being a goody two-shoes. I still think that your goal of attending, cooperating, sharing, supporting, those are still upheld by intimidating Meadowsong to keep Pipistrel safe or to find out what's going on. So I feel like, you were virtuous. I'm going to say that all the way throughout, you were diligent, you worked very hard, and you kept your skills on fleek. Kids still say that. So I'm going to say, if you want to, you can stay virtuous and you can get your point back.
Yes, please, I need to help Pipistrel.
And Pipistrel, how did you feel you were today? How did Pipistrel get up to in the grand scheme of things?
Oh, I think... Oh, this is kind of a tricky one, because I feel like... Again, Pipistrel is definitely kind of a flip-floppy between Vice and between neutral. I think I could make an argument that I have remained neutral, even though I was like kind of very skeptical of this traveling troop of birds and squirrel being ambushed by otters. I don't know, because I still suggested, like, well, you know, when Chipper looked hurt, I was like, okay, right, well, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, you know, we'll escort you back to Willowmoot, and, you know, I'll stay here and I'll wait, because, you know, that's the right thing to do. I feel like I could make an argument for having reinforced my neutral bearing.
I'd agree.
By not giving into.
You worked diligently to find the card. I'd agree that you were neutral in your approach of how you handled the situation, with like taking all the information before you really make decisions and kind of striking a balance with the traveling troop. But I also think you're a little bit greedy at the beginning of the session when you're like, oats, food now.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you did everything you needed to do in the moment to make things work, which I feel is the purpose of neutral. So your boon for neutral is you get to ask one question of the narrator, who is me, about the consequences of an action.
How easy is Chipper to kill?
How do you bury a squirrel?
The consequences. You got to phrase it as sort of like, oh, if I were to attack Chipper, would I be able to beat her up?
Yeah.
If I tried to bury... Yeah. So you got to ask the kind of consequences. We have a short discussion about that. And so you can use that once. And that's about the consequences in relation to your action. Because it's a representation of your neutral bearing. Meaning you take more information in. You give things a digest.
Hooray.
And I'm going to say, Balthazar, as a reminder, you don't have to be in a scene to be able to use your help other point. Because you can phrase it as, oh, I totally taught Pip this self-defense movement, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Kickflip.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
So, we don't get to do an Odok fact this week because you guys aren't together.
Oh no!
But I think it's time to learn a new skill. I think you guys should know some new skills. So, what new skills do you think you've picked up on your way? Because Pipistrel, I want to keep you guys on an even level. Pipistrel, you've got 2 new skills to kind of put into a desired job that you're working towards, and then our good friend Balthazar has 1.
Yeah, because I have Bug Whisper.
Bug Whisper.
Let me...
Bugs. The for bugs.
Yeah.
I really want a new job so I can start using softly spoken, because that would be very helpful in a lot of things that I keep doing. Oh gosh, what
you can always use softly spoken.
Oh, am I allowed to use it even though it's not?
It's
like
in
a
your
full job
features.
yet?
Features are separate. You've got training, which is a job you're getting towards. These features, so flight, which is marked with an X until you get rid of your injured wing. Like these are individual things outside of a job that you have. So like if you look at Balthazar's sheet, he has the features a skill, stress toxins, skill, amphibious, and floor, moisture sensitive.
Okay, that's true. Okay, well in that case then let me think. Skills that I could use. I feel like I've been but just like by natural design having decent ears, I feel like I've been able to navigate us reasonably well on the ground, despite the fact that I'm a flying creature and I'm very used to doing things by the air. So could I have something kind of along the lines of sort of able to get one's bearings? I don't know how else.
Orientate.
Orientate. That's it. I like that.
I would say orientate is a skill you have. I can
Echo-orientation.
How do I? Okay, now I need to remember how to spell orientation.
I put it in there, I think.
Oh, did you? Oh, hang on. Oh, yes, you did. Orientate. All right.
Except I didn't spell it right.
I'm pulling a blank a little bit on
I
Balthazar.
feel like
He's
being intimidating
Mm.
is something that you've done
yeah.
a couple times really well with the owl fight, and then with this,
Yeah. Intimidation.
This little round boy is hard as nails.
Yeah. He's he can
I
be
was gonna say
your
he's
angle
French. I
or
was like,
your
I don't think the
No.
French are like they're specifically their
gonna-
thing is they're intimidating.
I was gonna start with he is friend-shaped or foe-shaped, and then I remembered angle and demon. It can be your angle or your demon. So that's what he is.
The one I always had.
That actually took me a second. I was like, how is he an angle? He's very
Round.
I
No,
could be your
he's-
BF or your GF or your BF, your good friend or your bad friend. Yeah, intimidation. What second skill do you think you'd have, Pipistrel? So these skills in your training you don't get to use until you finish getting a third skill, then you invent a trait on the floor and you add it as a job.
Cool. In that case, then let me think. Other skills that I made.
Something you've learnt in your 6 episodes, guys. 6 episodes.
My God. What could I have learnt? I definitely haven't learnt how to be patient because I'm still very impatient.
Oh my god. Someone's commented, "You're making me sweaty. You won't like me when I'm sweaty."
Yes.
General life mood. If anyone ever makes me sweaty, you're gonna regret it.
Oh my God, hell yeah. I feel there's something. I don't know. I feel like just with the situations that we've been in and the people that we've met, could I know I don't always do it right, but I think there's something kind of person's sort of people oriented,
Maybe
like
charming.
yeah, like I think sort of Pip is quite good at maybe like getting information out of people just by being kind of like,
Needling.
yeah, a little
Hounding
bit
the
like
witness.
well, I mean, maybe not hounding, but sort of being like, oh, look at me, I'm such a sweet little bat, and here's my friend, and isn't he charming?
Maybe
Like,
unassuming.
actually, unassuming is a good way of putting it. So like, you don't sort of realize how much you've said until you've said it, and then she's like, haha, I have gotten the information that I needed.
I'm gonna say unassuming presence,
Unassuming presence, yes, I like that.
which pairs well with your like softly spoken vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've got some new stuff. I'm also going to say a little note. You've got your nettle dust, poultice, bandages, sleeping sack, full map, 1 bag of trail mix, which means you're at your maximum carried items.
Ooh, so I am.
You got stuff. And then
I got stuff.
Our little toady boy has got armor, a smaller map, and the broken gear.
Yeah, there's a pauldron.
Yes, so... good game, guys. This is fun.
Yeah, this is a nice.
There was a point when we were kind of going in circles. I'm just like, what? What's going on? Like, come on. But then when we got to these gosh dang actors, the instant suspicion, and it was so shady, but Balthazar is too pure until you make him mad and sweaty, then he's not pure. But
The notes I had down,
ending.
because I had a different scenario for tracking down the thing for each one. The one I had for Doubt Begets Doubt is going in circles.
Oh.
So that was what you're meant to be doubting, is like, are we actually going the right way? Like, this doesn't make sense.
I mean, we're going the right way, but the way was just silly.
Bonkers way.
Yeah, but that does make sense. That really checks out with the See, I thought the Doubt Begets Doubt refers to these thieves themselves, like that they
A little bit as
they're
well,
lying to
a little
our
bit.
face. Yeah,
It's I like that these fortunes are they make you think on lots of different levels.
they really do. They really do. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah.
Pipistrel.
Oh god, I'm really worried
She's
now.
gonna
because
get shivved by a squirrel.
I don't have my weapon anymore because I lost it in the fight with the owl.
Oh,
I
you
don't even have my
did.
claw. I have no weapon, and I'm like, I have nothing to defend myself with.
Fisticuffs.
I have my letter opener. Stab the scroll with an
Whoa,
accurate.
I mean, that's kind of sick.
Blunt knife.
Fucking brutal.
You gonna shiv me? I'm gonna shiv you. Ugh.
I will ship you right back. Although to be fair, she has got very, very pointy. Like she's got, she has proper little scritchy scratches.
And
so, like-
fangs. I'm gonna
And fang,
Yeah, turns out she's actually a blood-sucking bat. She was adopted into a family of.
Oh, she never knew. This is how
Bloods, and she
her
just-
taste for flesh has
The
awoken.
bloodlust.
I'm secretly a vampire bat.
Ah. Okay.
Um,
Well, I think it's gonna. We'll reintroduce ourselves for folks who weren't at the very beginning of the stream. Ver can say their amazing news again for people who weren't at the beginning of the stream. Please brag, please brag, please brag. I love a brag.
Suppose so. Okay, I will. Oh, am I on now? Okay.
No, wait,
No,
no, hang on. And then we'll say
Yeah.
goodbye. That's what I was gonna say. Anyway, hello, I'm Brian. I use he/him pronouns. I run Dungeons on a Dime, which is a publishing imprint for entry-level role-playing content. I wrote this system we're using, Adventures on a Dime, and it has a character sheet on Roll20, who are our sponsors, definitely ticking that sponsored tick box. You can go to Roll20 in the link in our bio, where you can find all of the cool things we're using on Roll20. We've got dice you can roll, you've got skills you can enter, you've got boxes to tick, all sorts of fun stuff. And, yeah, it's really great. I'm very proud of it. I'm going to be making new content for Adventures on a Dime on my Patreon, patreon.com/DOAD for Dungeons on a Dime. And it's just going to be real fun. So new items, new stuff, things. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I also do maps and minis, and I work with cool artists. It's just a bunch of fun. Yes. Now, on to Ver, who will introduce themselves and tell us their awesome news.
Indeed. I have been Ver. I'm a comic artist and illustrator. You can find me on social media, on Twitter at Verface, on Tumblr at Sticks and Sharks, and you can also find me on Patreon at Verface. As for the news that I had at the beginning of the game, it pertains to last week. We had to skip last week, so it's a little belated. But I had my issue of Jim Henson's The Storyteller was published last Wednesday. Perhaps you can still obtain it in your local comic store. It's kind of cool to have something out on shelves. And if you would like to read a story about it pertaining to Slavic mythos and ghosts, as this year's theme of the Storyteller comics are ghost themed, you can check it out. And coming back to game things, Brian, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited and very scared for the next session. And I hope I will be able to put my virtuous boon to good use, because I don't want anything to happen to good old Pip.
Get ready for some Pip content. Speaking of Pip, we have Atlanta. Please reintroduce yourself and say hi.
Hello, I am again that strange fleshy beast called Atlanta, who occasionally does art. You can find me on Instagram at Alpaca Scribbles. Sorry, Alpaca_Scribbles. You can find me on Twitter at Alpaca Scribbles, also on Patreon at Alpaca Scribbles, where I am posting more doodles of these two. Not that I don't want to plug stuff too much, but like I am also like available for commissions and stuff right now because I am not very busy and I need to pay bills. But yeah, again, Brian, thank you so much again for this wonderful game. Thank you for we picked it up, I think, really well from last week having missed a week. But this is fun, and I'm excited, and I'm scur for my little Pip.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, we've got a live show on a weekend coming up soon.
Oh,
we
yeah,
do.
on the 22nd, don't we?
We do.
22nd
Yeah.
of August. So
22nd of
you're gonna
August.
do when? 19th and then 22nd.
The UK Games Expo has a virtual convention called Virtually Expo, which is replacing their regular physical one because, I mean, I don't know if that's a thing you heard about. It's called COVID. But yeah, they're doing an online convention, and we have a live game panel as part of that convention. So come along and give us a watch, give us a talk. It's going to be regular Beast Fables, but on a Saturday, not on a
So not regular, really.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday.
Oh,
regular
we could
Beast
even do a
Fables.
little catch up because we could do Wednesday 19th and then we could do Saturday 22nd for some
Yeah.
quick fire Beast Fables content.
It's not going to be as long though, right?
No, it's only going to be like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need to trim some of the fluff that we really love to get into and keep ourselves.
On a
We'll
good
just do a
pulse.
death gauntlet. We'll do a death gauntlet. It'll be fine.
Oh Lord!
Fight to the death now.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's quite exciting.
Yes. And I didn't forget. Honestly, time is such a concept at this point. Like, it's not real.
It is not.
No,
No.
time is not real anymore.
Well, thank you for joining us today, guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. And we will catch you on Wednesday, 19th. And see you soon. Bye for now.
Yeah. Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye.